Yep. 15. Hey, good morning. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. At 1 o'clock, the president will participate in a Memphis Safe Task Force Roundtable. And we know that Senator Marsha Blackburn out of Tennessee says more than 8,000 arrests have been made since the start of the Memphis Safe Task Force, which was created in mid-September of last year. So we'll dive into more details on that in just a bit. Other headlines that we're tracking this hour, we'll have the latest on Operation Epic Fury from President Trump. This as the Senate continues to debate the Save America Act, and unprecedented long lines are still seen at numerous airports across the country, all while an emergency in New York last night as there was this fatal collision on the ground between an Air Canada jet and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, a fire truck there at LaGuardia Airport late last night. So let's start with that story this morning as we get the latest from the Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who posted the following on X saying, quote, "Our prayers this morning are with the families impacted by the ground collision at LaGuardia. The FAA is deploying a team to the site to support the NTSB's investigation." We may have a photo of that incident from last night. If not, we'll continue on with Sean Duffy here. Here's the information that Sean Duffy said he can share at this hour. So last night, an Air Canada Express jet operating from Montreal and a Port Authority fire truck at LaGuardia Airport collided at about 11:45 last night. Of the 72 Air Canada Express passengers and 4 crew members, over a dozen are injured. Tragically, both pilots of the aircraft have passed away. At least 2 Port Authority firefighters sustained serious injuries. LaGuardia remains closed until 2 p.m., so a couple hours yet, while the NTSB investigates the accident site. And Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, saying we will continue to work closely with the NTSB and share additional updates as soon as possible. Again, that happened last night at about 11:45 at LaGuardia Airport in New York. Shifting gears now, the president has an update for us when it comes to Operation Epic Fury. This on Truth Social for Clip 1. He says, quote, "I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump." So that moments ago from earlier today, as we will look over some of the statements that the president has made at a recent press gaggle from JBA, Joint Base Andrews, as he's heading toward Memphis, Tennessee for that Memphis Safe Task Force Roundtable, which will bring you live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And let's shift to more details and background on the Memphis Safe Task Force. Let's start in September of last year when the president signed this memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force. Before we get to clip 2, there's a number of videos here all having to do with Western Tennessee. Take a look.
Today, at the request of Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, who's standing with us, as you know, I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them, step by step, just like we did in D.C. We have virtually no crime in D.C. right now, and we're going to keep it that way. It's our nation's capital. We're going to keep it that way, or we're going to federalize it if we had to, but we don't have to anymore because it's in such great shape. This task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here, and you'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad.
Memphis all my life. I grew up spending summers there with my cousins, riding bikes off of Getwell, where they lived, through neighborhoods of a great American city that is legendary worldwide. And it saddened my heart to see over the decades that Memphis kids can't live that same safe experience. From day one, we've looked for opportunities to create change in a city that's more than worth fighting for. And over the years, good faith efforts have resulted in incremental progress, but that deserves recognition. But the Memphis Safe Task Force has fostered an unprecedented collaboration between local and state and federal partners that's nothing short of extraordinary. The federal resources delivered by the Trump administration, the dozens of agencies working side by side, the relentless bipartisanship that has proven all the critics wrong. This Herculean effort has in fact created generational change in Memphis. Crime is down 55% in Shelby County, with the lowest monthly crime totals in over 25 years.
Hi folks, this is Senator Brent Taylor coming to you from Broad Avenue in Binghamton for yet another Make Memphis Matter challenge. We're standing here in front of the Broadway Pizza, and I can tell you, I remember it hadn't been that long ago that I would hear from my constituents who would come down here and they would go back to their car after having enjoyed a restaurant and get to their car and it's been broken into. That happened not once, not twice, sometimes 3 times. But since the Memphis Safe Task Force has been here in Memphis, the car break-ins are down. Crime has been cut by 50% here in Memphis, and it's all because of the Memphis Safe Task Force. We're working hard to make Memphis matter. The Memphis Safe Task Force is working hard to make Memphis safe. As I've said many times, from Memphis to Mountain City and from Turtletown to Tiptonville, thank you, God bless you, and let's all work together to make Memphis matter. The Memphis Safe Task Force has made significant reductions in crime in Memphis. And so I guess my question is, has that reduction in crime, has that improved the attractiveness for Memphis in terms of economic development? And if you could just speak to that.
It absolutely has. I think Memphis is, from the state's perspective, has always been a city and a community, a region of the state that's been very attractive across a diverse number of industries, always has been, for all the reasons that I think we all know. But because of that, I would say Memphis industries recognizing and watching what's going on, and they see that there is an opportunity for them to, whether they're already there and they want to invest additional dollars or set up shop for the first time in our state because of what's happening in Memphis, absolutely has made a big difference. There's no question.
Hi, folks. This is Senator Brent Taylor coming to you live from Nashville. And I have a special guest with me today, and that is Senator Mark Pody, one of my colleagues in the Senate. He represents Wilson County and a little piece of Davidson County. And we were talking today in one of our committees about the success of the Memphis Safe Task Force. And I read aloud the statistics and how Memphis crime is literally being cut in half. And Senator Pody, I don't know if you heard last night, but President Trump single-handedly mentioned Memphis in the State of the Union, and the reduction in crime. And I have not been able to do this alone. It's been through the help of you and others in the Senate. And I just want to thank you for what you're doing to help make Memphis matter.
Well, I can appreciate what you're doing. And it's ironic because, Senator, you and I have something in common because I represent one of the largest cities in the state that is heavily, heavily Democratic. And you represent a heavily Democratic a city as well, one of the largest in the state. And I admire how you stand up and fight. You fight for law and order. You fight for what is right constantly. And we know that you are fighting hard to do what's right for Memphis. Well,
I appreciate that. And I anger a lot of purple-haired people down in Memphis. But we're doing what we can to try to make Memphis matter. And I wanted to give you, because of all your efforts in helping make Memphis matter by making Memphis safe, I wanted to give you your very own Make Memphis Matter baseball cap, and I hope you'll wear it with pride.
Absolutely. I can just tell you as well, you keep up the fight. You are leading down here. You're leading not only for Memphis, for the entire state. You've already passed bills that are going to be affecting all of us in Tennessee, and keep up the great work you're doing. I just appreciate serving with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And from Memphis to Mountain City and from Turtletown to Tiptonville, thank you. God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Tennessee.
So Senator Brent Taylor out of Shelby County there in western Tennessee. Of course, that's where the Commander-in-Chief is headed to talk about the Memphis Safe Task Force. Trust me, there's a lot of news that we're following as well. The Save America Act, Operation Epic Fury, the latest on that, and many other stories. Before we get to that, let's go to a few of our sponsors here on Right Side, including the chance of donating to the network if you'd like. All you have to do is go to rsbnetwork.com/donate to donate to Right Side as we continue to grow and expand here at the network and cover all of the stories that we see happening across this country and a lot of them around the world as well, including, of course, Operation Epic Fury. Let's also go to mypillow.com/RSBN. A ton of great products there for the Mega Sale 2.0 and free shipping, a 1-2 punch, figuratively speaking, for some great products and great prices with a great person in Mike Lindell. Of course, you've seen him several times here on Right Side. Also running for governor there in Minnesota. So mypillow.com/RSBN, you see there the mattress and topper sale as low as $99.99. Some great products there with MyPillow. mypillow.com/RSBN. All right, so we know that the president spoke to the press earlier this morning on his way to Memphis. So I believe he's on Air Force One right now from Joint Base Andrews all the way to Memphis, Tennessee. But what we could do is we're going to go back, just in case you missed it, on Friday. You know, Friday afternoon. It's one of those things where you might miss an event or you might miss some of the programming. So let's go to President Trump then speaking on a number of topics as well. And what we'll do is if we get a feed from the White House or a clip from the White House in regards to this morning's gaggle, we'll air that as well. But let's go to clip 3 in the meantime.
President. I thought I'd bring our great Secretary of State out, and he is doing a fantastic job. So we have Marco. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask you, Iran executed 3 people this week.
Terrible.
You have vowed strong action in the past. What message would you send?
Well, we've been hitting them awfully hard. I mean, I don't know if you can possibly get hit harder, but these are thugs and animals and horrible people. But you can't hit anybody harder than we've hit them. But I'm not surprised. They executed 3 young people for protesting.
And do you plan to escort those ships through the Strait of Hormuz with or without allies?
We're doing very well there. We're doing very well overall. You know, we don't use the Strait. We don't. The United States. We don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one.
Mr. President, do you still want South Korea support the United States?
Yeah, what about it?
Do you still want South Korea support?
Well, I love South Korea. We have a great relationship with South Korea. We're helping South Korea a lot.
Mr. President, do you think Israel will be ready to end the war when you're ready to end the war?
I think so.
Mr. President,
The relationship's a very good one. I think so.
Mr. President.
We want more or less similar things. You know what we want? We want victory, both of us, and that's what we've got.
Mr. President.
What's your plan for Cloud Island? What's your plan for Cloud Island?
You know, I may have a plan or I may not, but how would I ever say that to a reporter? If I said that to a reporter, Marco would say, "Please, sir, let's bring you over to the helicopter immediately." Right? No, I can't tell you that.
Mr. President, the economic pain.
It's certainly a place that's people are talking about, but I can't say. Yeah.
Are you ruling out ground troops there, though?
affect talks with Russia on Ukraine?
What about it?
Are the talks on back burner right now because of
No,
no?
we're talking about it. I think it'll get done.
When do you expect the next round of talks to take place?
They take place almost every day. We're making a lot of progress.
Mr. President,
you said that the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that? You said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
So how much longer should the American people expect?
You said opening the Strait of Hormuz is a simple military maneuver.
Very simple.
Yeah, but what did you mean by that?
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us, but you know, we don't use it. You know, at a certain point, it'll open itself at a certain point. But we've defeated the enemy, and they are an enemy. They're a sick group of people. The leadership is gone, the Navy is gone, the Air Force is gone, the anti-aircraft equipment that they have, the radar they have is all gone, everything's gone. The strait itself, the actual strait, how are you?
Hi.
The strait itself is, we're doing a good job, but it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy, Japan is 95% of the energy. It would be nice if those countries would get involved.
But what did you call
What? I thought she did a good job yesterday.
The American bases in Europe, Lindsey Graham has asked for you to reconsider the American bases in Spain, in Germany, after what they have done in the Strait of Hormuz. What's your take?
Well, it deserves. He's right about asking that, and I think NATO's gone down a long way because they haven't. I mean, they should be helping with the Strait. They get much of their energy from the Strait of Hormuz, and if Lindsey Graham said that, and don't forget, he was the big NATO guy for a while, and now he's not. And a lot of senators and congressmen, they're very upset with the fact that NATO has done nothing.
Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and to reopen dialogue. What do you say to the Pope?
Well,
sir?
look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Chuck Norris.
I thought he was a great guy. Wow. Yeah, he was a Chuck Norris died. I didn't know that. He was a great guy. He was a really good, tough cookie. You didn't want to fight him, I can tell you. He was a tough, great guy and he was a great supporter. Wow, that's too bad. Tell his family highest respect. Okay? Great man. Do you want to make a deal with him? Do you want to make a deal with Vito Bellowa? Well, I get along with him very well.
Are you deploying the additional or to optimize your operational capability?
Well, I would say this, that if I told you the answer to that question, my military people would be very happy. So we have a lot of troops, we have unlimited ammunition, we have the greatest equipment in the world, and we are decimating Iran. It's about time. And frankly, it should have been done long before me. It should have been done before other
polls have shown that MAGA is essentially unified behind you as the Republicans when it comes to Afghanistan. There's been reports that the United States might be sending 2,500 Marines to the Middle East. Are you concerned that a move like that could potentially change the unity?
Well, I don't know. I seem to have great support because CNN came out with a poll today that I'm at 100%. And they said they've never seen a poll like that. The CNN poll said I'm at 100%, and they've never seen that before, which is an honor. I was impressed that CNN would do that. But as far as troops are concerned, I can't tell you what we're doing.
Mr. President, you took issue with Australia, Japan, and South Korea this week.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Very surprised about Australia and what? What would you like them to do?
Well, they should get involved, and I was a little bit surprised that they said no, because we always say yes to them.
What did Australia say no to? What did Australia say no to?
They'll allow the U.S. to use air bases to defend the Strait of Hormuz. What's your response to that?
Well, it's been a very late response in the UK. Surprised because the relationship is so good, but this has never happened before. They were really pretty much our first ally, all over the world, first ally, and they didn't want us to use the island, the so-called island, which for some reason they gave up rights to it, and I was a little surprised at the UK, to be honest with you. They should have acted a lot faster.
Have you spoken with the Prime Minister?
I have.
Mr. President.
They should have acted a lot faster.
Mr. President.
Did you see that your former press secretary, Sarah Sanders, was asked to leave a restaurant by staff who felt threatened by her politics?
Well, her politics are right down the center. She's a good person, and that shouldn't have happened. Where did that take place, here or in Arkansas?
In Arkansas.
Wow, in Arkansas. That's very surprising. I love Arkansas. I won that state by so much. I think that Sarah's going to be just fine, but it's too bad. She's a good woman, Sarah.
Mr. President, the price of oil is way up. The stock market is down. Did you miscalculate the cost of going into Iran?
No. We're not giving a nuclear weapon to terrorist thugs, and we're knocking the hell out of them. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their leaders are gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, everything's gone.
But did you expect the economic
No, I expected worse, actually.
Mr. President, you still support...
I thought that oil prices would go much higher when I did this.
You still support...
We just set every record in the book, with Dow, with the S&P. Dow had 50,000, S&P had 8,000, 7,000, and at levels, at speed like nobody's ever seen before. But I said I have to go off on that path, and I have to take a little journey. We have to get and he would agree, but he's not going to say it. And this is not St. Patrick's Day, by the way. What are you doing with that tie? But we had to go off on a circuitous path and take care of business, and we are in the process of doing it. And I'll tell you, I think we're weeks ahead of schedule. My Secretary of State is very happy. You have a question for Marco?
Yes. How soon? President Trump said this week that he can take Cuba. How soon can that happen?
Well, I mean, Cuba's a disaster, and it's because of their communist government. It doesn't work. So I don't have any news for you on that today, other than that's been going on for 67 years. They're a disaster. It's the worst it's ever been.
And what are you guys hearing from your Senate colleagues about the chances of the Save America Act passing?
Well, it seems to be doing okay. It's voter ID. You have to have citizenship to vote. And I'm hearing very good things. I mean, I was hearing negative things because the Democrats are all against voter ID. They're all against citizenship to vote. They're against transgender. You know, they like the transgender thing with mutilization of your children. All of the things that we talk about. You know, we added two little elements. No men in women's sports, right? You know that. We added that. And when you add them all up, whether you take 4 or 5, I think they're all 95 to 99% issues. I hear it's going, look, it should be an easy pass. but we need Democrat votes. They don't want to approve voter ID because they cheat. They don't want to approve citizenship. In other words, we want to have citizenship in order to vote. You have to prove your citizenship. The Democrats don't want to do that. You know why, Peter? You know why? Because they want to cheat, Peter. Now, speaking of something that's more pleasant, see that? It's going to be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. Nothing like it. And they just started today one of the biggest pours of concrete that's ever been seen in Washington, D.C.
When they're doing the construction, does it ever wake you up?
It makes me happy when I hear those pile drivers. My wife doesn't love it, but I love the sound. I love the sound of concrete. I love the sound of pile drivers.
How are you, Mr. President? One question. How are you? How are you?
Okay, so that was from Friday, in case you missed it. Of course, the president spoke to the press on the way to Memphis, Tennessee, where he is on his way now on Air Force One. What we're going to do is we're going to go over a number of the statements that we heard that aired by the president, posted on Rapid Response 47, so we'll go with that in just a minute. Before we dive into some more stories of the day, including Save America Act and all of the various things that we're tracking here at the 24/7 news cycle. Let's go to some of our sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, including All Family Pharmacy. You know, most people don't think about their medications until they actually need them. So someone gets sick or the pharmacy's closed, the doctor's office is booked out, and suddenly you're scrambling just to get basic prescriptions. Well, there's a better way to handle it. All Family Pharmacy is helping Americans take control of their health care by making it simple to get the medications families rely on every day. So you go online, you choose the medications you're looking for, and complete a short medical form basically from there. A licensed doctor reviews your request and, if appropriate, writes the prescription. Then your order ships directly to your door. So it's not just things like ivermectin or mebendazole. They offer more than 400 prescription medications, which include antibiotics, antivirals, NAD+, and everyday maintenance medications. And this is something that millions of Americans are relying on, such as treatments for blood pressure or cholesterol, diabetes, infections, and more. So no long pharmacy lines, no complicated insurance process, just a simpler way to get the medications your family may need. So if you believe in being prepared and having access to the medications you trust, this pharmacy has your back. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN is the place to go. Also, Birch Gold Group, great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. And you can think about back in 2006, as we've talked about a couple times here on the network, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold at spot price. And at today's prices, those 33 ounces would be worth about $165,000. Smart Americans are diversifying a portion of their savings into precious metals, and that's why you might want to consider buying gold from our friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has been a store of wealth, and today it's a crucial part of any balanced strategy. Even better, Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. All you have to do to get the ball rolling is text Trump to 989898. You see that information right there on your screen. Text Trump to 989898. All right, let's see. It's approaching the top of the hour. This is Air Force One is on its way to Western Tennessee. If you're just joining us, this is RSBN Live. Of course, we're going to see the president at about 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's the time that it's scheduled for, where he'll participate in a Memphis Safe Task Force Roundtable. And Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn says more than 8,000 arrests have been made since the start of the Memphis Safe Task Force, which that memorandum was signed by the president in September of 2025. And we'll dive into some more details on that in just a minute. Other headlines we're tracking at this hour, for those of you just joining us, we'll have the latest on Operation Epic Fury, as the president posted about that earlier. This as the Senate continues to debate the Save America Act. And then, of course, we're seeing those unprecedented long lines. We're still seeing it at numerous airports across the country, thanks to you-know-who, the Democrats. This is all while that emergency in New York last night, as there was a fatal collision on the ground between an Air Canada passenger jet and Port Authority fire truck. This was at New York LaGuardia, again, late last night. So let's start with that once again as we get the latest from the Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who posted the following on X. He said, quote, "Our prayers this morning are with the families impacted by that ground collision at LaGuardia." As you see the photo there on the right side of your screen. Now, we know that the NTSB is now investigating this fatal accident. Here's the information from Sean Duffy. He said last night an Air Canada Express CRJ 900 operating from Montreal and then a Port Authority fire truck at LaGuardia Airport collided at about 11:45 Eastern time last night. So of the 72 Air Canada Express passengers and 4 crew members, over a dozen are injured. Tragically, both pilots of the aircraft have passed away. At least 2 Port Authority firefighters sustained serious injuries. LaGuardia remains closed until 2 p.m. Eastern, so we have about still yet a couple hours while the NTSB investigates the accident site. We will continue to work closely with the NTSB, Sean Duffy says, and share additional updates as soon as possible. Quite the tragedy there in LaGuardia last night. Again, let's go over clip 1 here with President Trump talking about Operation Epic Fury as he posted following. He said, quote, "I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period. This is subject, according to the President, to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions." The President says, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." President Donald J. Trump. Let's shift back now to the Memphis task force as you take that live look at the National Mall. Kind of a very wide, if you look on your iPhone, a 0.5 wide scope shot right there of D.C. Partly cloudy day as we see that the President is on his way on Air Force One over there to Western Tennessee for this roundtable. Again, all about the Memphis Safe Task Force. And he established this and signed the memorandum back in September of 2025. So let's take a look at clip 2 once again if you're just joining us.
Today, at the request of Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, who's standing with us, as you know, I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them, step by step, just like we did in D.C. We have virtually no crime in D.C. right now, and we're going to keep it that way. It's our nation's capital. We're going to keep it that way, or we're going to federalize it if we had to, but we don't have to anymore because it's in such great shape. This task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here. And you'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad.
Memphis all my life. I grew up spending summers there with my cousins, riding bikes off of Get Well, where they lived, through neighborhoods of a great American city that is legendary worldwide. And it saddened my heart to see over the decades that Memphis kids can't live that same safe experience. From day one, we've looked for opportunities to create change in a city that's more than worth fighting for. And over the years, good faith efforts have resulted in incremental progress, but that deserves recognition. But the Memphis Safe Task Force has fostered an unprecedented collaboration between local and state and federal partners that's nothing short of extraordinary. The federal resources delivered by the Trump administration, the dozens of agencies working side by side, the relentless bipartisanship that has proven all the critics wrong. This Herculean effort has in fact created generational change in Memphis. Crime is down 55% in Shelby County, with the lowest monthly crime totals in over 25 years.
Hi folks, this is Senator Brent Taylor coming to you from Broad Avenue in Binghamton for yet another Make Memphis Matter challenge. We're standing here in front of the Broadway Pizza, and I can tell you, I remember it hadn't been that long ago that I would hear from my constituents who would come down here and they would go back to their car after having enjoyed a restaurant and get to the car and it's been broken into. That happened not once, not twice, sometimes 3 times. But since the Memphis Safe Task Force has been here in Memphis, the car break-ins are down. Crime is being cut by 50% here in Memphis, and it's all because of the Memphis Safe Task Force. We're working hard to make Memphis matter. The Memphis Safe Task Force is working hard to make Memphis safe. As I've said many times, from Memphis to Mountain City and from Turtletown to Tiptonville, thank you, God bless you, and let's all work together to make Memphis matter. The Memphis Safe Task Force has made significant reductions in crime in Memphis. And so I guess my question is, has that reduction in crime, has that improved the attractiveness for Memphis in terms of economic development? And if you could just speak to that.
It absolutely has. I think Memphis is, from the state's perspective, has always been a city and a community, a region of the state that's been very attractive across a diverse number of industries, always has been, for all the reasons that I think we all know. But because of that, I would say Memphis industries recognizing and watching what's going on, and they see that there is an opportunity for them to, whether they're already there and they want to invest additional dollars or, set up shop for the first time in our state because of what's happening in Memphis, absolutely has made a big difference. There's no question.
Hi, folks. This is Senator Brent Taylor coming to you live from Nashville. And I have a special guest with me today, and that is Senator Mark Pody, one of my colleagues in the Senate. He represents Wilson County and a little piece of Davidson County. And we were talking today in one of our committees about the success of the Memphis Safe Task Force. And I read aloud the statistics and how Memphis crime is literally being cut in half. And Senator Pody, I don't know if you heard last night, but President Trump single-handedly mentioned Memphis in the State of the Union, and the reduction in crime. And I have not been able to do this alone. It's been through the help of you and others in the Senate. And I just wanted to thank you for what you're doing to help make Memphis matter.
Well, I can appreciate what you're doing. And it's ironic because, Senator, you and I have something in common because I represent one of the largest cities in the state that is heavily, heavily Democratic. And you represent a heavily Democratic state, a city as well, one of the largest in the state. And I admire how you stand up and fight. You fight for law and order. You fight for what is right constantly. And we know that you are fighting hard to do what's right for Memphis.
Well, I appreciate that. And I anger a lot of purple-haired people down in Memphis. But we're doing what we can to try to make Memphis matter. And I wanted to give you, because of all your efforts in helping make Memphis matter by making Memphis safe, I wanted to give you your very own Make Memphis Matter baseball cap, and I hope you'll wear it with pride.
Absolutely. I can just tell you as well, you keep up the fight. You are leading down here. You're leading not only for Memphis, for the entire state. You've already passed bills that are going to be affecting all of us in Tennessee, and keep up the great work you're doing. I just appreciate serving with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And from Memphis to Mountain City and from Turtletown to Tiptonville, thank you. God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Tennessee.
And that's exactly where President Trump is on his way to Memphis, Tennessee, the volunteer state, Shelby County specifically there in western Tennessee. So we'll be seeing the president here in about an hour or so for that roundtable, all about the Memphis Safe Task Force. Again, this is a multi-agency effort here, including the National Guard. If you remember, the National Guard in Memphis, the National Guard in Washington, D.C. I believe the governor of Louisiana also asking President Trump to have the National Guard down there in New Orleans as well. So we're tracking that meeting coming up here in just a minute. There's some more stories we're going to get to here in just a second as well. Let's go to Rumble Wallet first. You may have seen those conversations happening online lately. Censorship, unfortunately, is back, and it's happening everywhere. Platforms trying to control narratives and, pushing the stuff they just want us to see. And we can fight back in that information area, the financial arena. Rumble is one of the only companies that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. On one side, Rumble is really challenging big tech censorship, but now on the other side, they have introduced something that will give us protection from the big banks shutting us off. And some conservatives may know banks can cancel our accounts and freeze our cards. That's why Rumble has launched Rumble Wallet. It's a wallet that no one can cancel and a wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip creators like us and others out there without any middleman taking the cuts. And what we know specifically is that with Rumble Wallet, you can control your money. Not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. It's yours, only yours, and yours to protect your future and family. So you can buy and save digital assets like Bitcoin and Tether Gold in one place. Now, Tether Gold is real gold on the blockchain with ownership of physical gold bars. And you can get a lot of information if you'd like. Just go to rumble.com, specifically wallet.rumble.com. And you could open an account today, step away from the big banks. And also, if you'd like, just search Rumble Wallet in the app stores. Let's also go to kalshi.com/RSBN. There's a ton of things that people are betting, trading, just checking out polls online. I'm specifically looking here at Kalshi as well. So if you go to kalshi.com/RSBN, you'll see things like, how long will the government shutdown last? As you guys know, there's this partial government shutdown thanks to the Democrats' long list of demands that were ridiculous from the start and now causing all of these crazy problems at airports across the country. And on top of that, 100,000 people not getting their paychecks and still doing their jobs. A number of them are. And again, DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, the Transportation Security Administration, well, it's still shut down at this point. We're going to get to some more of that in just a second. Also, when will DHS be funded again? So it looks like 62% are saying before April 8th of 2026, and 38% are saying before April 1st of 2026. And there's a lot of other questions on there as well. So check it out, kalshi.com/RSBN, great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you'd like to follow us on Truth Social, it's at RSBN. On X, it's at RSB Network. And if you'd like to follow me on X, it's at Matthew US Media, and also on Truth at Matthew Alvarez. You know, speaking of Truth Social, yesterday I posted a number of photos that were AI generated from Grok. So I posted on X, posted some on Truth Social. We're going to go over some of those in just a minute. And it's all about the Save America Act. Sometimes you get the creative juices flowing, and then you combine that with the fact of saving our country. Those are pretty good things to have a 1-2 punch, figuratively speaking, and creatively speaking as well. Again, here are some statements, though. Let's do this first before we get to the Save America Act. Let's go specifically. I'm going to go to Rapid Response 47 if you'd like to follow along as well. This as we await the White House if they'll be posting that press gaggle from earlier today. If not, all good. We'll just read a number of posts that we see here for various topics that the president was asked about this morning as he was heading to Memphis for this event. So we're going to start with one of the latest posts, and we'll go to the newer ones here in just a second. The president said on Iran, he said, "We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. They went, I would say, perfectly," the president says. "I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict." The president also saying, "We're dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. We've wiped out everybody." The reporter asks, "Is that the supreme leader?" The president said no, when the president's talking specifically about who they've been talking to in Iran. Also, the question from a reporter about 2 hours ago posted on Rapid Response 47, "What exactly are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?" And the president said, quote, "We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it, low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. I think we're going to get that." That's from the president from Rapid Response 47, and a number of other posts as well from Rapid Response. And we're going to get to some of them here on Right Side because he referred to ICE wearing masks saying he's a big proponent of that when it comes to mass deportations. But then at the airports, he's saying he'd rather the agents take the masks off. So we're seeing some videos on Breaking 911 and other places out there of various ICE agents at various airports already stepping in, just as the president said just a few days ago, helping with the TSA problem, not because it's the TSA's fault, not because it's the Department of Homeland Security's fault. You got to call a spade a spade. It's the Democrats' fault. They're the ones that have partially shut down the government and are not funding 100,000 workers across the country, causing, as you guys have seen, hopefully, maybe you've seen it, these unprecedented lines at various airports throughout the country. We'll get into that in a second. Let's talk about the following as we get ready to go to Memphis, Tennessee, the Save America Act. So specifically, the question facing our country is, what's at stake if we don't pass the Save America Act? How far left could our country go? What constitutional freedoms might we lose? That's, again, if the Save America Act doesn't pass, and there are millions and millions and millions of people mailing in ballots, not because of medical, not because of military. There are millions and millions of people voting at the precinct, places that don't have maybe a photo ID, don't have proof of citizenship. This is if this doesn't pass. So let's go to President Trump. He's the one that talked about this earlier this morning. Let's go to clip 4 here about it. He said, quote, "I don't think we should make any deal with the crazy country-destroying radical left Democrats unless and until they vote with Republicans to pass the Save America Act." He says it is far more important than anything else we are doing in the Senate, and that includes giving these same terrible people, the Dems, who are to blame for this mess, a $5 billion cut in ICE funding, a deal which, even when disguised as something else, is unacceptable to me and the American people, unless it includes their approval of voter ID with picture, the president says, citizenship to vote, no mail-in voting with exceptions, all paper ballots, no men and women's sports, and no transgender mutilation of our precious children. President Trump also saying, put it all together, and also let Leader Thune clearly identify those few quote-unquote Republicans that are voting against America. President Trump said they will never be elected again. In other words, lump everything together as one and vote. Kill the filibuster and stay in D.C. for Easter if necessary. Make America great again, President DJT. So we see that right there. We're going to dive into some more about the Save America Act in just a second. Let's go to some of our sponsors in the meantime as we get ready to see the president out there in Western Tennessee and Memphis, Tennessee specifically. Let's go to Cove Pure. So we're past all that New Year, New Me stuff. This is the part where we either forget about it or we make it easy enough that we actually follow through. And that's where Cove Pure comes in. And here's the thing, most people tend to go overboard buying new supplements, trying a new diet or workout, which is always good, but they completely ignore the most important thing, water. Even mild dehydration impacts energy, focus, and metabolism. And when you think about all the garbage that's in our water, you start behind the curve before you even begin. So Cove Pure changes that immediately. Their ClearWave technology is certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants. So pretty much anything that isn't water, those PFAs or microplastics, pharmaceutical residue, fluoride, it all gets removed. It's the purest water you can get. And also you can choose the temperature of your water, hot, cold, or warm with just the tap of the button. You can get that boiling water in just 3 seconds. All right, so it makes your water taste good, no aftertaste as well. So it's great when it comes to, getting away from that tap water aftertaste. So all you have to do is go to covepure.com/RSBN. That's covepure.com/RSBN. That limited time offer is right there as you see on your screen, $250 off. Drink pure, live pure, covepure.com. Let's go to angelpace.com as well out of Spring, Texas. Of course, if you use the RSBN promo code, you'll save 10%. That's a good way to start this because the products are great. A lot of them are doing well. And also, all you have to do is go to angelpace.com, peruse the site, check out all the different flagship products that you see there, the Miracle Cream, the mists, the exfoliating cream as well. And I say that because my wife got a shipment of Angel Paste, and there's a photo. Apologies for the 1-year-old baby. She had some of our toys in the background in the picture there. But she definitely said she liked the exfoliating cream and also is trying out the other products as well. So that's a photo from the house angelpace.com, great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. All right, so let's do this. Let's take a quick commercial break. Thanks for watching RSBN Live. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. It is Monday, March 23rd and 12:19 on the East Coast. I believe that's what, 9:19 out there on the West Coast. Thanks so much for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and everybody in between the coasts, the Central Time Zone, the Mountain Time Zone. Thanks again for live streaming in, or at least checking us out on a replay. As you see the live picture there, wide shot of the National Mall in Washington, D.C. We know the president on his way to Memphis, Tennessee. Speaking of on his way to Memphis, Tennessee, the White House has posted the press gaggle from within the past couple hours. So we're going to get that queued up here and play that for you. If you missed it, we'll have it here for you. As we know, the president was speaking to the reporters today, I believe at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, before he boarded Air Force One. So it's about a 13-minute clip that we're about to go to. But before we do, we the people want common sense election reform. So what is election reform? What does that mean? It's reforming our election law, basically. It's saying, hey, you know what? Instead of debating on Capitol Hill whether or not to make it illegal for illegal aliens to vote, it's at least strengthening the current election law already on the books. So of course, it's already illegal for illegal aliens to vote, but you have to strengthen this law by having the photo ID, by having the proof of citizenship, by getting rid of the mail-in ballots unless it's for military or medical or other instances. So let's make it make sense here. So we're looking to see it be enforced, strengthened, expand, and reform current election law. So turn the Save America Act into the Save America law by passing it through the Senate. If we have to use the filibuster, this is something that you would want to use it on. This is not just another run-of-the-mill, maybe a nomination or just another bill. This is kind of a weighty measure. If you look at what people are saying on Truth Social, on X, on conservative media, and we know that having United States citizens voting in United States elections makes a lot of common sense, right? So voters in federal elections must show photo ID and proof of U.S. citizenship, no mail-in ballots except for military medical, as I mentioned, as Saving America is not up for debate. So let's do this. Let's go over a few grok images I posted on X and Truth Social last night. We're going to just go page through a few of them, talk about a few of them as we get ready to go to the president for that press gaggle from this morning. As we see this one here, I think I posted, let's let the United States Senate make sure they're in it for the long haul. As you see the highway there, thanks to Grok for this stuff. I just typed in, a sign at the highway and passed the Save America Act in time for the 2026 midterms. That sounds good to me. Sounds good to you, maybe? Let's go to the next photo as well. Passed the Save America Act, and in the foreground there is the sign, and the background is Mount Rushmore. Why not? I would think the founding fathers would be 100% for this to happen, that United States citizens are the ones that are supposed to vote in United States elections. Let's go to another clip. Let's see what we have here. Of course, our farmland around the country, I just thought, hey, why not put that in there too? Pass the Save America Act. I mean, this is something that people are saying, hey, this is not something to debate, really. This is something that we should just get done. Nuke the filibuster if you have to. Let's move on to the next photo. Let's see. Okay, this one was interesting because obviously the Indy cars are going to be going around D.C. coming up in the near future for our 250th birthday here in the country. And the blue car there, it says Save America Act. And of course, you've got the patriotic car. And I typed pass, in quotes, pass the Save America Act. Okay, there you go. So there's one. If it's corny, it's corny. But the point is really just keep the messaging going to make sure this thing gets passed. We're not just going to let this go. We see that this is a very important thing for our country. Let's move to another one. Save America Act. Now this one got the most likes, I think, on Truth Social because I said no vacations for United States senators until this passes. And there you go, at the beach, beautiful weather there. Again, this is all because of Grok on X. Simply you type it in, you have a premium account there, you type it in and you check everything out and you're allowed to use these photos as you see there. Save America Act. No vacations for United States senators until the Save America Act passes. I mean, think about it. If you're a boss and you have employees, right? The boss says, hey, do this. The employee says, okay. You know, you just kind of got to roll with it, right? Well, it's the same thing with this. We, the people, are the boss. Last time I checked, the 174, I don't even like talking about it. The $174,000 that each member of Congress makes, I guess that's in the Senate and in Congress, I don't know. Those are our dollars. Like, you're representing all of us, So please don't take a vacation until this thing's passed. You know what I mean? This is for our country. This is what we want. Really can't argue with that. Let's go to the next photo. Let's see what we see there. I love this one because I love hockey. I said passing the Save America Act is the goal. So put that on the Jumbotron there. Pass the Save America Act. Let's see what else we have. Let's go to baseball. I said it would be a grand slam home run if we just passed the Save America Act in time for the 2026 midterms. So if you follow me on Truth Social, it's at Matthew Alvarez, or on X at Matthew US Media. Thought it'd be fun to just show a few of those today. I don't think there's any more, right, Director? Is that it? I think that's it. All right, that's the last one. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I don't know. I had fun making those AI graphics just yesterday. This is as we get ready to see the president in Memphis, Tennessee. Let's go to a few of our sponsors in the meantime as we get ready to see the president as well from the press gaggle that happened earlier today. All Family Pharmacy, all about RSBN 10, that promo code right there as you see, because most people, it seems like you don't think about medications until you actually need them. Someone gets sick, the pharmacy's closed, the doctor's office is booked out, and suddenly you're scrambling just to get basic prescriptions. There's a better way to handle it. All Family Pharmacy is helping Americans take control of their health care by making it simple to get the medications families rely on every day. So you go online, you choose the medication you're looking for, and complete a short medical form. Then a licensed doctor reviews your request, and if appropriate, writes the prescription. Then your order ships directly to your door. And it's not ivermectin or mebendazole only. They have more than 400 prescription medications, including antibiotics, antivirals, NAD+, everyday maintenance medications that millions of people rely on, such as treatments for blood pressure or cholesterol, diabetes, infections, and more. No long pharmacy lines, no complicated insurance process, just a simpler way to get medications your family may need. So if you believe in being prepared and having access to the medications you trust, this pharmacy has your back. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Let's go from that sponsor to this one, Birch Gold Group, as you see there on your screen. Texting Trump to 989898. It's the way to go because you can get a free info kit on gold. Now, specifically, if you think about in 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold at spot price. At today's prices, those 33 ounces of gold would be worth about $165,000. So smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals. And that's why you might want to consider buying gold from our friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has been a store of wealth, and today it's a crucial part of any balanced strategy. Even better, Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. Just text Trump to that number you see there on your screen, 989898. You'll receive that free info kit on gold. No obligation, just useful information. They also have that A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers. So you can let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. Text Trump to 989898. Against Trump to 989898. It's approaching the bottom of the hour, 12:28 here on Monday, March 23rd. Thanks so much for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's go to President Trump now as he spoke to the press within the past couple hours.
Mr. President. Let me just move over. Can we move over? Let's get out of the sun. Turn back. That's better. Isn't that more comfortable?
Mr. President, Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict, and I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit, and I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else, but we have, they're very much in mind in the discussions. So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Who were you speaking with in Iran?
A top person. Don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with a man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. They've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader. We don't. Well, nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son.
Are these
nobody? We have not heard from the son. Every once in a while, you see a statement made, but we have not. We don't know if he's living. But the people that seem to be running it, and they seem that based on really fact, because things they've said have taken place.
Can you say what that is?
I can't.
Mr. President, I know you
because I don't want them to be killed. Okay, I don't want him to be killed.
Mr. President,
nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now. You know, nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country. But perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem.
Mr. President, you've deployed ICE agents to American
Who are you with?
Newsman, sir. You've deployed ICE.
You're not doing a very good job.
You deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go ahead.
What exactly do you want from
You believe in I'm taking CNN over Newsmax?
What exactly are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it. Low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that. And I think we're going to get that. We've agreed to that. Yeah, we've agreed to that.
You want the enriched uranium before we can end this.
And we want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium. If this happens, it's a great start for Iran to build itself back, and it's everything that we want. And it's also great for Israel, and it's great for the other Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all of them, Kuwait and Bahrain in particular. So it's great for all of them.
If the war is ended, do you still need $200 billion?
It's always nice to have. It's always nice to have. It's a very inflamed world, and the Democrats inflame it. You know, largely the Democrats inflame it. And let me just talk about the others. So ICE has done very well. I've requested, now, you know, I'm a big believer that they should be able to wear masks when they go and hunt down, you know, murderers, criminals, and others. But for purposes of the airport, I've requested that they take off the mask. I don't like it for the airport, and I believe they are willing to do that.
Why do they wear masks not at the airport, but they need to do it when they're out in the
Because the people coming into the airport, typically speaking, aren't murderers, killers, drug dealers, etc. There may be a few of them, but there aren't many. They're people that want to come into the country, or that people want to leave the country, going to maybe their home country. So I didn't think it was an appropriate look for an airport. I think it's a very appropriate look when they're out on the street, trying to find one of the 11,888 murderers that Sleepy Joe Biden let into our country.
Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus. Sorry. Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus to Tuesday workers who kept showing up to work during the shutdown. Will you do that again?
Well, it could happen. It's amazing. There's such people that are really, really loyal and great, and it's not easy for them. And this is all caused by the Democrats. Just so you know, all this money was approved. Everything was approved. This is done. The Democrats went in, and they want to have radical left lunatics come into our country. They want to have drug dealers. They want to have murderers come into our country. They want to have open borders, and we're not letting it happen. That's what this is all about. They don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want mail-in ballots. They're so corrupt. What they want, the only thing they want is mail-in ballots. So we also added, as you know, into the Save America Act. And it's called Save America. It's not the Save Act. But we added no transgender mutilization of our children and no men in women's sports. I don't think he's going to be a newsman.
If he talks so well and you reach a ceasefire just with Iran, do you believe Israel would abide by that agreement?
I think Israel will be very happy with what we have. We just spoke to Israel a little while ago. I think they'll be very happy. This will be peace for Israel, long-term peace, guaranteed peace. If this happens, and, you know, I can't guarantee it, but I think it's going to. My life is a deal. That's all I do is deals, my whole life. I think this is something that's going to happen. And why wouldn't it happen? So tomorrow morning sometime, their time, we were expected to blow up their largest electric generating plants that cost over $10 billion to build. It's a very good one. There was no dearth of money. And one shot, it's gone. It collapses. Why would they want that? So they called. I didn't call. They called. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. And it's got to be no more wars, no more nuclear weapons. They're not going to have nuclear weapons anymore. They're agreeing to that. Any of that stuff, there's no deal.
You said you're going to get the enriched uranium. How are you going to get the enriched uranium?
Well,
are you going to send
it's very easy. If we have a deal with them, we're going down and we'll take it ourselves.
Can I ask you, the Treasury lifted sanctions on Iranian oil that was out this week. You criticized President Obama for giving Iran $1.7 billion.
Well, I just want to have as much oil in the system as possible.
But Iran is
and we don't even know if Iran gets that money. Frankly, I think it's very hard for them to get it. But you have ships that are out there that are loaded up with oil. Rather than keep it there, I would rather see it go to the system. Any small amount of money that Iran gets is not going to have any difference in this war. But I want to have the system be lubricated.
Even $14 billion
Where's the $14 billion?
the inflated price. They get $14 billion from the...
I don't think they're getting the money. I could tell you, when this is all over, I will tell you who's getting the money.
Why are you sending the Marines from California, given that it'll take them weeks to arrive? Is the intention to police the strait or take off?
What are you doing?
Well, it's been reported that there are Marines that left California, left San Diego, left Why are they headed there now?
Well, let me ask you this. If you were in my position, and I asked you that question, do you really believe I could give you that? It's a crazy question. We don't talk about strategy. Yeah? Yeah, let in by Biden. devastating. These people were let in by Biden. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast. That's why ICE is so important. They're doing such a good job. This animal, I saw the whole thing last night. They gave me a briefing. Came in through Joe Biden with his open door policy and his border czar, Kamala, who never saw the border. Never made one phone call. All the ICE people, you see, they all know me. Everyone knows me. They like me. I speak to them all the time. Didn't make one phone call during 4 years. She was the border czar to anybody on the border. Never went there. This person came in through the open door policy of Joe Biden. And we have others. We're taking them out by the tens of thousands. We're doing a great job, but it's a shame. They've hurt our country. Just remember this. Joe Biden and that gang of radical left lunatics, some very smart, but radical left and bad ideology, sick people. These people have hurt our country very badly.
Are we directly talking with Iran? How is that different from what Russia is doing in Ukraine by any Ukrainian help?
Well, I think it's a lot different. And if you look at the nuclear weapons that they wanted to have, that they wanted to possess, a lot of things are different. I'm not a fan of what Russia's doing either, just so you understand. All right? But it's a lot different. You're talking about a country that has been evil for 47 years. They've been horrible. Death all over the world, not just us. Look at the way they attacked unexpectedly all of those countries surrounding it. It was not supposed to. Nobody was even thinking about it. But they wanted to take over the Middle East and they wanted to knock out Israel permanently. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have been able to.
Are we directly talking to Iran?
Look, I'm not a fan of the guy.
All right, so we're going to go back to some of that press gaggle in just a second. We're seeing that live feed coming to us from Memphis right now. Is the president already appearing, guys? Doesn't look like it at this point. It might be. Guys, do you want to go? Let's go to Memphis, Tennessee at this point. Okay. Okay, let's go to that, guys. We're just communicating right here.
Seemed like a very nice guy. I met him. He was.
At least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
you. Well, it was a nice place with the best sound system. I don't know. Who did? Sounds like the finest opera hall in anywhere in the world. Let's come back here more often. So often you have sound systems that aren't the greatest. And there's nothing worse, making a speech when nobody can hear you. This is beautiful and it's a great place. And Memphis has to like me because I have a lot of friends here and they were not happy a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, and now they said, we can't believe what's happened in terms of crime, in terms of what's gone on and the job that these people and some of the great people, many of the great people in the audience have done. And that's why I'm here today. In fact, we were going to cancel because we have a couple of events going on, as you probably noticed. So they said, oh, we'll cancel Memphis. I said, we're not canceling Memphis for anything. We're not canceling. We're not going to cancel Memphis, but we do have some big things happening, and very positive, I have to say. So before getting to our important discussion this morning, let me provide a brief update on Operation Epic Fury, which is a very good name, as it turns out. That was a name. They showed me 20 names. Sir, what name would you like? I didn't like any of them. And then I get toward the end, I said, you got to be kidding. What? Operation Epic Fury. I love that name. And it's very appropriate for what's taken place, if you know, in Iran, because we knocked out their Navy, we knocked out their Air Force, we knocked out their anti-aircraft, we knocked out everything. And we did it with fury, actually. As I announced earlier, based on preliminary conversations between the United States and Iran over the past 2 days, I've directed the Department of War to temporarily postpone planned strikes against major energy and electricity targets in Iran. They have very, very big, new, actually, and very expensive, billions of dollars it costs to build them. One missile, one of our powerful ones, and it comes down to the ground like it was made out of dust. But to determine whether a broader agreement can be reached, we've had very good discussions, very, very good discussions. And you have to understand, I know my whole life has been a negotiation, but with Iran, we've been negotiating for a long time. And this time, they mean business. And it's only because of the great job that our military did is the reason they mean business. They want to settle, and we're going to get it done, I hope. So hopefully this will be possible, but no matter what, we'll ensure that Iran never obtains a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They would have had one if we allowed the Obama deal to stand. That was the Iran nuclear deal, they called it. They would have had one. Marcia 3. Well, I'll tell you what, Martha, we would have nuclear weapons up there when, would you say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or 4 years ago? We would have been in a position that nobody wants to be in. We won't allow ourselves to be in that position. Over the past 3 weeks, the United States military and our partners have been decimating Iran's military capabilities with overwhelming firepower, skill, lethality, and force, and we're destroying their ballistic missiles and drones programs with launchers down by more than 90%. We're hitting their launchers at a level that nobody even thought of before, 90%. They can't launch them, and they don't have very many of them, because most of them have been annihilated. But we've annihilated their defense industrial base, eliminating their Navy. We had 158 ships are down. I said to my people, why didn't you capture the ship? I said, were they good or not? They said, they were great, sir. So why didn't you capture it? We could have used them. They said, it's more fun to put them at the bottom of the sea. But they're not there anymore. So we eliminated their Navy, Pete, right? And that's gone. We eliminated their Air Force. We eliminated all of their air defense, everything. We eliminated everything there is to eliminate, and we eliminated them. We eliminated their leaders. We had the first set of leaders. They're gone. Then they met, 88 people met. And it's sad. I mean, it's sad they couldn't have made a deal. We could have made a deal with them a long time ago. Then the second set, 88 people met to pick a new leader.
and they're now extinguished. And then they're meeting again, but now nobody wants to be the leader. It's one of the few political jobs that nobody wants anywhere in the world. Nobody wants it. It's a very dangerous job. My job is dangerous too, but their job is worse. In other words, we're systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America. They're not threatening us anymore. As Commander-in-Chief, it's my sacred responsibility to protect our country from all threats. For decades, Iran refused every opportunity to renounce its nuclear ambitions, and in recent months, its own negotiators bragged to our representatives about having enough material to make nuclear weapons. And that was supposed to deter me, but it didn't deter. It made me more anxious, and it just made it much more important. This mission that we're all on together was much more important, and we did it quicker. Iran's missile capabilities were also growing so fast that it would soon have become virtually impossible to stop them. Once they have a missile, once they have what they were building was incredible. And you got a little glimpse of it by the fact that when they came out, they started shooting all of their neighbors. Their neighbors weren't fighting with them. They were getting along okay with their neighbors. And I was surprised. Everybody was surprised. And it actually worked in reverse because their neighbors then turned against them. Now Iran has one more opportunity to end its threats to America and our allies, and we hope they take it. Either way, America and the entire world will soon be much safer and will be a much more secure planet. In addition to all of this, we're working on so many different things. You know, our economy was fantastic. We had a Dow at 50,000. They say it couldn't happen in 4 years. It wouldn't happen during my term. But if I got anywhere close, it would be a great success. Well, in my first year, we hit 50,000. And with the S&P, they said, even more difficult. They said it would be impossible to hit 7,000 on the S&P. And we hit that in our first term. And then, unfortunately, I called Pete, I called General Kane, I called a lot of our great people. We have great people. And I said, let's talk. We got a problem in the Middle East. We have a country known as Iran that for 47 years has been just a purveyor of terror, and they're very close to having a nuclear weapon. We can keep going and get that 50,000 up to 55 and 60. There's no end. Or we can take a stop and make a little journey into the Middle East and eliminate a big problem. And Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up. And you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit, the night before that. And I think they're very good. They want peace. They've agreed they will not have a nuclear weapon, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see. You have to get it done. But I would say there's a very good chance. And it began when I said that we were planning tomorrow on shooting down some of their power plants, and we're going to hold that up. Hopefully we won't have to do it. And hopefully we can make a deal that's good for all of us, including the Middle Eastern allies that have been very good to us, including Israel, that's been a great partner in this fight. They've really been a good partner in the fight. They fought hard. But we'll see what happens. I think there's a very good chance we're going to end up in a deal. And so we're giving it 5 days, and then we're going to see where that takes us. And I would say at the end of this period, I think it could very well end up being a very good deal for everybody. As good as if we went all the way and just literally annihilated the place, which if we don't have to do that, that would be a good thing, not a bad thing. In addition, after the appalling lines and massive disruptions at major airports nationwide last weekend, I am again demanding that Democrats in Congress immediately end their disgraceful shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security and restore the full funding for airport security and the TSA. They are holding it up because they want to take care of illegal immigrants coming into our country. They want to take care of criminals that are in sanctuary cities. They want to take care of transgender for everybody, literally the mutilization of our children, men in women's sports,
But what they don't want to do is give us anything to do with citizenship for voting or voter ID. Can you imagine? We're the only country that doesn't do voter ID. Every country does voter ID. You know, brought to my attention today that we're the only country that does mail-in voting. Mail-in voting means mail-in cheating. I call it mail-in cheating. And we got to do something about it all, and it's part of Homeland Security. And I'm suggesting strongly to the Republican Party, don't make any deal on anything. The most important thing we can have is what's called the Save America Act. Don't make any deal on anything unless you include voter ID, and you have to be a citizen to vote. You have to show citizenship to vote. Very easy to do. It's very insulting when they say people can't do it because they don't know how to do it. Anybody that can't do it, I think it's a very insulting thing to say. The Democrats are fully to blame with the struggle of the great American public is going through at the airports. They're going through a big struggle right now, and we just put ICE in charge, and they're helping TSA, the agents, and they're working together so far very well. I actually suggested that in the airports they take off their masks, and they did that. In the airports, I'm a big believer in the mask because we have, you know, Biden allowed hundreds of thousands of killers into our country. We're rapidly getting them out, by the way. But they would go after these people if they knew exactly who they were. But in the airports, it's different. I didn't love the look in the airport as you get off the plane. So I made a request and they agreed to it. So they're not going to be doing that. We would also bring out, if we don't have enough, we will bring out the National Guard and, you know, where we need it to help out at the airports. But we're not going to let this happen. It's extortion by the Democrats. They're holding up money that's already been approved, and now they're willing to go $5 billion reduction in ICE in order to get the approval on a deal that they approved, the great big beautiful deal, which is the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. They want to basically renegotiate a deal that they already approved, and they're doing it largely for a criminal element. So also the Democrats are putting our country at great risk during this period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation. Their leaders during this time are, as you know, as you want to say, they're in a never land. Schumer is gone. I mean, he's a Palestinian. He should be fighting on the side of Palestine. He's actually become a Palestinian leader. I don't know. I've never seen a man change so much. He used to be pro-Israel. Now he's pro-Palestine. I've never seen anything like it. And, you know, he's worried he's going to lose his next election, which it only depends if anybody runs against him. If anybody runs against him, he'll lose. But he's gone very wacky and very dangerous for our country. But we want all of those things. We have to have them. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship as part of our funding. We want to merge them so that we can get the great, big, beautiful bill in action, and we can get the America and Save America. You know, they called it the SAVE Act, but nobody knew what the SAVE Act was. So I said, you have to call it, under any circumstances, you have to call it the Save America Act, because everybody knows what that is. So they want funding taken away from the ICE patriots who are responsible for getting rid of the criminals that Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, and his gang of thugs in the White House. You talk about weaponization. They weaponized everybody. You know, when Pam looks at somebody, oh, it's weaponization. They've indicted me. What they've done to me and everybody else, it's a disgrace. They're the weaponizers, and what they've done to people, can never let that happen again. We can never let them get away with it again. They are the greatest weaponizers. Fortunately, it didn't work because here I am with you. So it didn't work out too well. Didn't work out too well. But they want to have people come into our country. And so many of these people are murderers. They're drug dealers. They're the worst criminals anywhere in the world. They want them in our country. They don't want them to come out. They make it almost impossible, but we get them out anyway. They should have never been allowed to enter our sacred ground. These people should have never, they came from all over the world. They came from all over. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from all over South America, Asia, everywhere. And they were from jails and mental institutions. They were drug dealers. They were murderers. 11,888 murderers. In any event, the Democrats are being blamed by the American people for the catastrophe going on right now at our airports and at other points of transportation and beyond. And we want the public to know we're not going to let them out of this trap that they created for themselves. And I'm suggesting very strongly that the Republicans, in going for the Save America Act, that you weld it into exactly this, because voter ID is part of Homeland Security. Think of it. We're talking about two separate items, but they're really the same. Voter ID is part of Homeland Security. And citizenship, proof of citizenship, is part of Homeland Security. So I think it should be welded in. I think it should be together. You should vote together, because the public has not liked what they've done at the airports. And they've done it, and the public understands it. They've gotten wise to them. Republicans do not settle with Democrats and let them out of this hole that they've buried themselves in. You have to take the votes in the Senate to approve. You need votes to approve. We have to get Democrat votes. And at a certain point, if you could get rid of the filibuster, it would be great. It would be great. Get rid of the filibuster and get it all done. So we'll get it done. We want another thing. We can, or we don't have to, add those other items. And by the way, they say they're 80-20 items. They're not 80-20. They're 99-1. Men playing in women's sports is a 99-1. You look at transgender mutilization of our children, that's a 99-1, and we have that in the bill too. So they won't sign it, then let the people reject them, and what we have to do is we have to win the midterms. This is the most important election, because all of the gains that we've made, we built the greatest economy, the greatest military. I built the military in my first term, and we built the greatest military in the world. We're showing it now with Venezuela, with Iran. Everybody knows we have the greatest, most powerful military in the world. And we're in a position that we haven't seen. We're respected. You know, our country now is respected all over the world. A year and a half ago, we were a laughingstock. We were a laughingstock. The King of Saudi Arabia told me a year and a half ago, he said, "President, I can't believe what's happened to America. 1 year ago, you were a laughingstock. Nobody thought you could ever survive. Now you're the hottest country." Use that expression. He said, now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And we are now. Congratulations, because we're all partners in this deal. You're the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's really amazing. So I congratulate you. It's a great feeling, because we were laughed at for 4 years with this guy that should have never been president. So I'm tying Homeland Security into voter identification with picture and proof of citizenship in order to vote. And those two items are the most important thing having to do with Homeland Security. So it should be part of the Homeland Security bill. And I'm requesting that the Republican senators do that immediately. You don't have to take a fast vote. Don't worry about Easter going home. In fact, make this one for Jesus, okay? Make this one for Jesus. That's what I tell them. That would be a damn good thing. The most important part of Homeland Security is voter ID and proof of citizenship. Nobody can vote on Homeland Security without voter ID or proof of citizenship. And you can't have Homeland Security without voter ID or proof of citizenship. So we're tying them together. So now, if you don't mind, let's get to the reason why I'm in Memphis and why you're doing so well. Because Fred Smith, everybody know Fred Smith? He was a friend of mine, and he created, from a sort of failed report at like Harvard or whatever, he did a business report, a concept he had, that was his thesis, a concept he had to build a company, and it was FedEx. So he gave this thing where he takes packages, he delivers them, who the heck knows what he put down. Bottom line is they gave him a lousy mark. I don't know if they passed him or not, but they didn't give him a good mark. They say, this is the most ridiculous business plan we've ever seen. Fred, go back to the drawing board and try something else, because this won't work. Well, he decided to go for it, and he built FedEx, and it's an amazing story. And he was a very good friend of mine, but he would tell me that he didn't know what to do about Memphis. It was so dangerous that they would have a board meeting, and the board members, they were demanded that they could not walk 1 block to their hotel. You know the hotel I'm talking about. It was so dangerous. And now they tell me this is like an entirely different place. It's like Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., we had the same thing, and now it's amazing. It's such an honor to. If only more governors, your governor called, and he said, we love it. Your mayor has been terrific. Your mayor has been terrific. But look at the results that you've got. Look at the results. And everybody should do it. You know, if I was Chicago, Pritzker, he's a failed governor. All he has to do is say, President, we're having a problem in Chicago. Could you come in and fix it? We'd have it fixed in 2 months. It would be good. It would be good in 2 months. It would be great in 4 months. You'd have almost no crime. But he can't do it. And it just keeps going the same way. So that's the reason I'm here, to tell you how well you've done, how well we've done. I mean, I just came in and people greeted me, sir, thank you very much for what you've done. I said, oh, where are you from? Memphis. What did I do? You stopped crime. And your sheriffs are so thankful. And, oh, you haven't seen it yet. You know, we've just been here a short while. In another 2 or 3 months, you're going to have like no crime. And, you know, we take these criminals. Is that our handsome senator down there, Bill? Is that our handsome Senator Bill? You got both of them down, but you're going to have a new governor here soon, I guess, huh? You're going to have a very new governor. Would you two stand up as senators? Please stand up. Two of the greatest people. Two of the greatest people. They never let me down, you know? Some let me down. They never let me down. Thank you. Last September, my administration launched the initiative modeled on D.C. Safe Task Force in our nation's capital. One of the most amazing things, I mean, I hate to say it, now I can say it, but our nation's capital was one of the most dangerous places on earth. People were being killed. They'd go in from Iowa, they'd go from Indiana to see the Washington Monument, and their parents would get a phone call they'd been killed. And it was happening a lot. It was really bad. And like this, actually, yours was at a level higher, to be honest with you. It was really bad. But it was happening a lot. And now you walk down Washington, it's like everybody that sees me in Washington, we've been doing that another couple of months longer. Everybody sees me in Washington, they say, thank you, sir. Thank you. And I immediately know what. You know, they could thank me for a lot of things. I said, are they thanking me for the economy? I know immediately. We have people working in the White House, young women. They walk, I would say normally beautiful young women. Ever since I got elected, I don't like to say that, because usually when you say a beautiful woman, isn't she beautiful? That's the end of your political career. So I never say that. But young women coming up to me and they're saying, sir, thank you so much. I know immediately what they're talking about. I say, how big a difference is it? They say, we walk to work. We were afraid to walk into an Uber. We were afraid to walk into a car. The car would be, it didn't matter. The car was being robbed when we were in the car. And it was much more than being robbed. Being robbed was the least of it. And we took out over 3,000 people. And you know, there's an expression that 90% of the crime is caused by 2% of the population. And when you hear that, you realize why we can do such a good job. We moved 3,000 people out, permanently out of Washington. These were career criminals. Many of them came in through the Biden open border disaster. They came in. They weren't there. They came in. They said, we want to live in Washington where they'll take good care of us, give us plenty of welfare. And we got them all out. We moved them back to their countries. Sometimes we'd put them in prison because they were so dangerous. We had one person, he killed 4 people
in a short period of time. Many of the people, 11,888, 50% of them in our country, they came from jails. Other countries opened their jails and let them into our country because Biden and his great border czar, the border czar who never once went to the border, never once called Border Patrol. But his great border, perhaps you've heard her, Kamala. Has anyone heard of Kamala? She was the border czar. That was like having nothing as a border czar. And they poured into our country, and they made our country very, very unsafe. And the job that ICE and Border Patrol have done, they don't get the appreciation they deserve. They are great American patriots. They're incredible people. So we brought together 22 federal agencies, state and local police, and 1,500 members of the incredible National Guard to smash the grip of the violent criminals on this iconic American city. The city is incredible. People love it so much, but they're just fed up. They can't stay, and now they're staying. I had somebody backstage say, "Sir, I was ready to leave, and now we're staying." I said, "Don't worry, it's going to get much better. It just takes a little more time." Like our D.C. efforts, the Memphis Task Force has been led by our Director of U.S. Marshal Services, Gaddy Seralta, who's incredible. Where's Gaddy? Gaddy, you are unbelievable. And I want to thank you for the work. He did a job in Washington. So when I heard Memphis, I said, I want the same guy that did Washington. Because that went, you're going to tell us when you get up which was more difficult, all right? But members are known all over the world as the home of Graceland. You know I'm going to see Graceland after this? I think, is that right? I love Elvis. I never met Elvis. Everyone said, did you? I met them all. I met Sinatra. I knew all of them. I never met Elvis. Sometimes I feel I should tell the little fibs that I knew him well. I love Elvis, but I never met him. But I'm going to go see Graceland after this, I think. I'm sure it's not going to be a very long stay, but I want to see that. But for years prior to our involvement, Memphis had become known for something else, being the murder capital of the USA. That's not a good title. It was averaging far more than one murder per day, with a crime rate higher than Colombia, Mexico City, or Baghdad. In the year, I shouldn't be saying this, but here's the good news, it's been fixed, all right? I hate to say this because it's so negative. It's so negative. In the year before I took office, Memphis saw more than 12,500 violent assaults, 429 rapes, and 7,600 burglaries and armed robberies. And I mean, it was getting worse. This catastrophe was a result of years of local politicians, judges, and prosecutors who sided with violent criminals over law-abiding citizens. Basically, liberals, or now they like to go with the word progressives. You don't hear liberal. They're liberal. I don't like progressive because it's a beautiful word. You know, they use progressive because that's the only thing they're good at, politics, I guess. You know, they're bad at policy, because all these policies are bad, but they're great at politics, and they do stick together. They stick together, they're good at politics, but they're bad at policy because they can't sell open borders, they can't sell transgender for everyone, they can't sell men and women's sport, so they can be the greatest politicians in the world, and that's why I'm here instead of them, I guess. But just as we have in D.C., here in Memphis, we've achieved one of the largest, fastest declines in violent crime ever recorded. So that's something, right? Ever recorded. In fact, you're half a percentage point away from the record, so we'll catch them in the next month or two, all right? I think that's going to happen. But that includes a 60% drop in robberies, a 74% drop in carjacking, and motor vehicle thefts. We have always achieved numbers that are good. These numbers are right on line to be among the best that we've done. And wherever we do this, we have very similar results. We were in New Orleans, where the governor called us, as you know, and we went to New Orleans. They just had Mardi Gras. They said it's the first, it sounds terrible, but it's the first Mardi Gras we've ever had where there was no murder. Can you imagine? Doesn't sound too good, but, you know, we're talking about the facts. And they said we had the lowest crime,
that we've ever had on Mardi Gras, which is almost nothing. We went there about 4 months ago. We did a great job. So we've achieved a 70% reduction in murders from the peak in this place. In total, we've arrested 7,000 criminals, seized more than 1,100 illegal guns, taken more than 1,000 pounds of illicit narcotics, and rescued more than 150 missing children, making their parents beyond happy. So I'd like you to please join me in thanking, I tell you, every single law enforcement hero here today. We have a small number compared to what's doing the job, who helped make Memphis safe again. Memphis, just so you know, with all of the things we said, you have now developed a reputation as a city that's coming back stronger than any city in the country because of what's happened with crime and because your political leaders had the courage to do what they did. So I'd like you to also say a special welcome and hello to the Tennessee National Guard, the Memphis Police Department, ICE, CBP, the ATF, DEA, Homeland Security Investigations, the U.S. Marshals, the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and all of law enforcement. Everybody got together and they said, we're going to make Memphis great again. And they really did. It's so good. But, you know, I talk about how good it is. We're at 75%. Some people say 80, 81%. That still leaves 20%. You're going to be down in another 2 months, 3 months, I think, Addie. We're going to be down to almost no crime. You're going to be an almost crime-free city. You're going to be so proud of it. People are going to stay. They're going to actually come back because you have everything going, but you have that one horrible cloud over your head. And essentially, people know it's happening, but essentially in another 2 months, you're not going to have anything. You're going to have a virtually crime-free city. So today I'm pleased to announce that the Secretary of War used to be the Secretary of Defense. We made a minor change. We like the sound of it better. That the Secretary of War has just signed a directive to ensure that all National Guard members serving on this task force, as well as in D.C., New Orleans, and our border security missions, will receive the same benefits as active duty troops because you deserve it. That's not bad. That's not bad. So before we leave, I want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. These are great people. Chief of the National Guard Bureau General Stephen Nordhaus, FBI Director Kash Patel, wonderful guy, actually. You got to get to know him. Once you get to know him, he's a wonderful guy. I've known him too long, right? He's a good guy. DEA Administrator Terry Cole, what a job he's done. Acting Director of ICE, where's Terry? Good job, Terry. What a job. In Washington, too. Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons. Todd, great. Thank you, Todd. Good job. Head of the ATF, Rob Cicada. Rob. Thank you, Rob. Head of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Colonel Matt Perry. Thanks, Matt. And head of the Tennessee National Guard, Major General Warner Ross. How are you? You guys look Central Casting. These are Central Casting people. What did you need us for? You didn't need us. Anyway, they had to let you do your job, right? They're letting you do your job now. Thanks as well to Tennessee Governor Bill Lee for the outstanding job. Thank you very much, Bill. We appreciated your call. Bill called me up. He said, we need a little help in Memphis, sir, when you get over here, please. He said, I have no pride. We just want this thing straightened out, right? So thank you very much. I'm glad it worked out. Oh, you haven't seen, what do you see? In 90 days from now, you're going to see numbers that blow these off. You're down 70, 75%. You're going to see numbers that you're going to be very proud of. Senators Bill Haggerty and Marsha Blackburn. Great people. Great people. You have some real warriors, too, as your congressmen and women. David Kustoff, Andy Ogles, Diana Harshbarger, John Rose, Matt Van Epps, and Chuck Fleischman. Will you all stand up? Warriors all. Everyone. Great, great people. You don't get better, and it's not the easiest job, is it? Huh? Speaker of the, you know what I like about them? They're not 3 o'clock in the morning. Sir, I get a call from Mike Johnson, Speaker. Sir, we have a problem. What time is it, Mike? 3 o'clock, sir, morning. We vote at 9. We need, it's always the same, you know, it's like 8 or 9. Sir, could you call them for us and see if you can get their vote? 3 o'clock, call them up. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Hello, sir, I'm not there. I'm not there. Well, you got to get there. 9 o'clock, you got to vote. Sir, could I have a little breakfast so we could discuss this bill? You know, like a perfect bill, like, you know, voter ID or something. You know, the bill didn't have to be too great to do it. He said, could we have maybe a little breakfast at the White House, sir? So, because I can get there, but I'm just not there. Come on over for breakfast, Bill. You know? I got a lot of them, too. I have about 9 of them. But these are the people we love. These are the people we love. So I want to thank you all. Speaker of the Tennessee House of Representatives, and I hear this guy, I hear he's fantastic. Cameron Sexton, where is he? I have heard such good things about you. And you're working on a very specific bill right now. I know all about you. That's great. Let me know when it's finished. You know, you got to send me a copy, okay? That's great. Thank you, Cameron. You're doing a great job. Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner. Thank you, Floyd. National President of the Fraternal Order of Police. Oh, that's a big one. He gave me his endorsement. Patrick Yost. Where's Patrick? He gave me his endorsement. I said, well, what's your endorsement worth? How many members? He said, sir, we have 490,000 members. I said, that's a good endorsement. Patrick, do you think anybody outside of, within law enforcement, did anybody vote for Kamala that you know of? Don't say it. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Don't say it. But thank you, Pat. That's great. We had an unbelievable, I do believe we got 98, 99% with law enforcement. And why not? President of the National Sheriff's Association, Chris West. Chris, thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. Stand up, Chris. Thank you. Well, why are you so far back there, Chris? You deserve to be in the front row. National President of the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, Matt Silverman. Great guy, too. All great guys, all guys we know. All guys, thank you, Matt. They're all guys that supported me, Pam, every one of them. For years, our leaders allowed entire cities in America to be destroyed by crime, drugs, and gang violence. Tolerating this violence was always a choice. 19 of the 20 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrats. I'm surprised. I thought it was 20 of 20. I don't know why it's 19. I don't believe it. It's like, I heard it was 25 out of 25. Well, I'll find out about it because I don't believe it's right. Whoever wrote that statistic is wrong. But under the Trump administration, we believe that no city or neighborhood should be left behind. In Memphis, the crime became so horrible that residents were made prisoners of violence in their own community, in their own home. But with the help of the great people right here at this table and right here, it's a whole different story right now. It's changing fast, and it'll be record-setting in a very short period of time, and I'll be here to celebrate it with you. You know, it's a very special state to me. I won this state, Bill, by numbers that nobody's ever won it before. We have the all-time record for votes. So I happen to like the state. I love Tennessee. Maybe someday I'll move to Tennessee. I might have to move there. No, I love it. You never know what that is. You know, you just have a relationship with the state. It's a lot safer than relationships with other things, I can tell you as a politician. But I especially want to thank Speaker Sexton, who's working with the task force to pass model bills that will be toughen crime, to deliver permanent safety to the people of Memphis. And really, I don't know if you know, but they're looking at this all over the country, what you're doing. They're studying it. That's why I know your name so well. And all over the country, they're studying it. And so I hope you do a great job, as simple as you can and as complex in the sense of we want to be tough. We want to be strong on crime, because that's the thing. We want to have heart. We want to have fairness, but we have to be tough, because some of these people are bad people that should have never been allowed to be here. Since I took office, we have successfully arrested or removed from the country over 500,000 hard-line criminals. And under our leadership last year, the murder rate nationwide saw the single largest decline ever recorded to the lowest level in 125 years. That's something. That's something. And this is despite the fact that they allowed 25 million people into our country. Many of those people should never have been allowed into our country. So now I'd like to ask Director Gatti Seralta, who's really a special guy, and I've lived with him because of Washington, D.C. I saw what he did, but to say a few words. And congratulations for what you've done everywhere, but today we're only interested in one place, Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you very much, Gatti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. So good morning to you, and thank you, Mr. President. Today we celebrate the successes of this incredible mission and all our federal, state, local, and National Guard teammates who have contributed mightily to the Memphis Safe Task Force. Mr. President, it is an honor to be entrusted by you to lead this amazing task force as Director of the United States Marshal Service. Your decisiveness in responding to state and local leaders' requests for federal assistance is inspiring. It was just over 6 months ago when you signed the executive order restoring law and order in Memphis. At that point, the city of Memphis was overwhelmed with unprecedented levels of violent crime, to include some of the nation's highest per capita rates of murder, robbery, and aggravated assaults. Memphis residents could not safely enjoy a walk downtown. Parents were fearful of their children playing outside, and local businesses struggled to prosper. The mission you gave us was clear and concise. Crime will not prevail in Memphis, period. The city will not be surrendered to lawlessness. President Trump, thank you for your leadership. We had a blueprint, quickly restoring order and reducing violent crime, given our success with Operation Make DC Safe and Beautiful, as you mentioned. We began our deployment to Memphis and commenced operations on September 29, 2025 with 20 partner agencies and 200 task force members. Now we partner with 33 multi-agency teams throughout the Memphis area. We have the support of over 2,700 officers and National Guard members who comprise the Memphis Safe Task Force, most of which are out here in the audience. In just over 6 months, the Memphis Safe Task Force has made over 7,342 arrests, this is last week's numbers, with charges ranging from homicide, there was 44 of those, 812 drug offenses, and 757 gang-related offenses. We have seized over 1,200 illegal firearms and located and returned 150 missing children. Each of these arrests and seizures of illegal contraband have a ripple effect, bringing justice to victims, relief to communities, and the prevention of future offenses or deadly accidents. Our work, however, has not just been about arrests and the seizure of illegal firearms and narcotics. Our Tennessee National Guard partners have made a significant impact while serving on the task force by administering several life-saving doses of Narcan to overdose victims, chasing down and detaining a fleeing murder suspect on Christmas Day, and providing immediate life-saving medical aid to the occupants of a vehicle collision on I-40. That's just a few of the things they've done. Similarly, our Health and Human Services Tactical Med, we call them TACMED, they're our doctors. Their team has treated almost 500 task force officers and related injuries during our operations. The fraud cell, the Memphis Safe Task Force Fraud Cell, has been a key contributor in targeting federal benefits fraud, organized crime, and other complex fraud matters. The fraud cell has more than 80 open investigations, 33 cases active with the United States Attorney's Office. Their recent efforts have resulted in 2 indictments of convicted sex offenders living in housing paid for by Housing and Urban Development, and 1 indictment for stealing benefits from a Social Security beneficiary. I would also like to recognize the work of Attorney General Bondi's incredible staff at the Western District of Tennessee. Their stats tell a remarkable story as well. They have increased the number of defendants charged by 221%, and the number of cases indicted by 204% when compared to the same operational period last year. I see you smiling, Mike. Congratulations. Without question, the public safety outlook in Memphis has improved dramatically. In the past 6 months, collectively, our efforts have resulted in a 43% reduction in total serious crimes, 37% reduction in murder, 40% reduction in sexual assault, 56% reduction in robbery, 68% reduction in motor vehicle thefts, and the most impressive of all is a 65% increase in the solvability of the crimes that have been committed. These numbers are so impressive that it's often easy to just recite them without reflecting on significant positive impact that we have had on lives of Memphis residents. The city's residents and visitors are now more likely to venture downtown, and our local businesses are rallying back. Large-scale public events have shown improved safety outcomes, as demonstrated during the December 6, 2025 St. Jude Marathon, where 22,000 runners gathered without a single reported downtown burglary, compared to multiple incidents in the prior year. Perhaps the most telling of all is one of our Special Assistant United States Attorneys recently reported that a traveling emergency room doctor expressed his appreciation for all that the task force had done. You see, he said that in years past he would see 3 to 5 gunshot victims per shift, and now he sees an average of 1 gunshot victim every 3 or 4 shifts. Mr. President, the Memphis Safe Task Force underscores one simple truth: when federal, state, and local agencies work together as genuine partners, we can reclaim even the most troubled cities. I am extremely grateful to you for the opportunity. To all our partner agencies, it has been an honor to work alongside you, and I look forward to sustaining and building on these partnerships as we continue to make Memphis safe again. Thank you.
Thank you, Getty, very much. And Pam, I think, thank you. What a great job. And I think, I see them sitting out there, your U.S. Attorney and your Assistant U.S. Attorney. You do a great job. Would you please stand up?
Michael Donovan.
Michael Donovan, Thank you, Michael. Thank you both. Great job. Thank you. Pam Bondi, please.
Thank you, President Trump. Some people choose to tolerate crime, but you chose law and order. And that's why this task force worked. It was all of us, as Gowdy said, working hand in hand with my FBI, DEA, U.S. Marshals, ATF, with Cash, with Terry, with Rob, with Gaddy. Not only that, with Pete, with Department of War, with Homeland Security, with all of my agencies working hand in hand with the National Guard. When you went out there, when we came to Memphis, you could not tell who was with what agency because everyone was working so well together. Our U.S. Attorney, Mike Donovan, was out there. And not only does everyone needs to know, we met with this president multiple times about this endeavor. The president knew what was going on here. The president cared. People like Alice Johnson sitting in the front row, who is a Memphis resident, she told us what a horrible crime problem there was. And I think the unsung hero in all of this is Stephen Miller. Stephen is the architect of making all of these plans work. Stephen, thank you. Thank you. And just two very brief examples. There was a horrible murderer, Arsenio Davis, who last October committed a gruesome double homicide. He killed his mother and dismembered another person. And based on this task force working hand in hand, he's off the street. Another example, a horrible monster who's charged with raping a small child. This task force, all of these members working together, arrested him. We can give you countless examples of that. Over 770 gang members off the streets. And we know there's no normal day for a law enforcement officer. We know it's so dangerous what our law enforcement officers do. But know this, Donald Trump and this administration, we have your backs. Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. And Pete Hegseth, who's been unbelievable at what he's doing, is nobody better. That was a wise choice. Pete, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your historic leadership on Operation Epic Fury. The success you've laid out was only possible because of the military you rebuilt, as well as the historic success here in Memphis. And I want to start by thanking every patriot in this room, in law enforcement, and the nearly 1,500 National Guard members for your heroic efforts in this operation. This is more than a task force. This is a statement not just in this city, but across the nation. When I look around this table, I'm looking at people that we work with every day: Governor, Cash, this team, the National Guard, Pam, Stephen, as was mentioned, Gaddy, the Speaker, at the federal level and the state level, working hand in glove. It doesn't happen any other way. You see, before President Trump, our nation was set on a perpetual course of decline. Our defense industrial base had been hollowed out. Our military had lowered its standard, prioritizing equity over merit and lethality. And right here in cities like Memphis, our people were focused on enduring just what seemed to be the status quo of rampant, vicious crime. Well, they let their cities burn to the ground, literally. In the name of hollow humanitarianism, weak leaders, and that's what it is, it's weak leaders, previously provided sanctuary for hordes of dangerous, illegal aliens who preyed on our most vulnerable. Soft on crime, defund the police nonsense tied the hands of our brave law enforcement heroes while the bad guys ran wild. And the most basic tenets of public safety, the foundations of any civilized society, were labeled as too toxic to implement. Well, not under President Trump. Such engineered chaos combined with a wide open border. By the way, thank you for agreeing to sign that declaration for the Memphis troops, the DC troops, and the troops on our border. They'll now be paid and get benefits just like folks on active duty. Thank you for that, Mr. President. It's an important step of demonstrating how serious this mission is to the Department of War. It's common sense. And it was that same common sense that brought President Trump back to the White House. People were sick and tired of the never-ending crisis. And under President Trump, we will not allow depraved, suicidal ideologies to destroy our great cities. No longer will we sit idly by while illegal aliens and savage criminals rape, murder, and poison the good people of this country. Because every American, without exception, is entitled to safe, clean, and beautiful cities. Cities where you can walk in peace, cities where law enforcement can do their job. And to that end, the Department of War stands shoulder to shoulder with state and federal partners so that our streets can be defended once again. Kind of like the visual I'm looking at right here. I see a lot of civilian leaders and police, law enforcement leaders in the front, and who's behind you? Men and women in camouflage, having your back every single day like we do in this mission. So thank you for working tirelessly to protect this state and restore law and order, and the results, they speak for themselves. That your presence has led to a massive reduction in crime, a reduction the good citizens of Memphis deserve. So thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership in restoring street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. You are saving Memphis, Tennessee, and the country, and we are grateful for it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Mr. Governor, please.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to Tennessee, Mr. President, especially to the iconic, great American city that is Memphis. We oftentimes say Nashville's the heart of Tennessee, but Memphis is the soul. And great businesses here, remarkable people, a true, rich cultural history, but a serious problem. And I want to tell you, even for me, today's a very important day, even personally. I'm a man who has loved this city all of my life. My grandparents, my mom born and raised, my family here. As a young kid, spent time with my cousins roaming the community, the neighborhoods in this city. But sadly, for decades, that was not possible for children to do safely anymore. And to watch this great city be plagued by crime like it has for decades was a very tough thing for Tennesseans to do. But as was said earlier, what's happened the last 6 months has changed that story entirely. And because of your leadership, Mr. President, putting together the Memphis Safe Task Force, putting these people, this leadership team in place, funding and making possible resources that have never before been made available to a city like has been made for Memphis. Because of that, because of the leadership here, and these, especially these men and women of law enforcement and the National Guard, who have, in fact, gone shoulder to shoulder with not only the multiple agencies involved, but with the people of Memphis. What has happened here has created generational change and will create generational change, and it could not have happened except for what's happening and what we're celebrating here today. So the people of Memphis are grateful. This governor is grateful. I thank you for the work that's happened. And we are looking to the future. We believe that great things lie ahead for this city. There's a lot of work yet to be done. The General Assembly, and we are working together with the General Assembly to create legislation that will make certain that this is a lasting effect for our city. I'm very hopeful for the men and women of Memphis that have prayed for a long time that the violence would stop, for the businesses that have held strong to create jobs and opportunity for Tennesseans. I have a lot of hope for the future. I do believe and have believed all my life that this is a great city, and now it is on a trajectory of greatness beyond where it's been in the past. Thank you for that. And I will say, I want to introduce Stephen Miller to speak next. There is one person who showed up here early, actually multiple people at this table, but he said his commitment to whatever we needed for this city and for this task force to be successful. He committed that when this began, and it has happened. And we're not done, but the statistics speak for themselves. What Gaddy just read out a while ago is hard to imagine when we first started this just 6 months ago that these were going to be the results. There's more to go, but we're grateful for the work. And Stephen, your commitment to us Tennesseans truly are grateful for it. And your commitment to President Trump's strategy, not just to make Memphis safe, not just to make Tennessee safe, but to make all of America safe again. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Kevin.
Thank you. Well, first and most importantly, thank you to President Trump, whose vision and courage and determination has achieved something that if you had predicted it 15 months ago, people would have said it was impossible. If you had said 15 months ago that we would achieve the lowest national murder rate, not in 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20 or 30 or 40, but in the 125 years, nobody would have believed it possible. And President Trump did exactly that, and it is a miracle. Just think about this for a second. Under President Trump's leadership, the largest reduction in murders in American history, the largest reduction in violent crime in American history, the largest reduction in drug overdose deaths in American history, the largest reduction in fentanyl in American history, the largest reduction in illegal immigration in American history, and the largest number of criminals arrested, removed, or deported in American history, all done in 1 year. If I would just say this, if we had an honest media in this country, the statistics I just gave you would be 24/7 on the news. Nobody could have ever predicted such an achievement would be possible. The second thing I want to thank President Trump for is assembling the greatest national security and public safety team in American history, because President Trump believes in merit, in competence, in people who get things done. So you look around the table of who President Trump chose for these jobs. You start with Rob or Gaddy or Pam or Pete, Cash, Todd, Terry, the whole entire team. What President Trump put together has never been rivaled in history. That's how you get things done. He chooses people based on their skill, their competence, their ability, their determination, their dedication, and their loyalty, and you're seeing the results. So I just want to again thank President Trump, and of course thank the governor as well, who picked up that phone, called President Trump, and said, I want you to help make Memphis safe, although I bet the governor would agree he could never have imagined this safe, this quickly, this many people behind bars. And let's just remember that because of the work that President Trump is doing, not only in Memphis, not only in Washington, D.C., but all over the country, ultimately, it will save and is saving tens of thousands of American lives. It is, and I'll use that word again, what President Trump has done on border security and public safety is a national miracle that will be studied not only for generations, but for centuries to come. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Steve. So, Cash, see if you can top that. I don't know. That's a tough one, Cash.
That is tough. You know, Mr. President, as I look around this venue, I see, and I'm reminded again, why we have the greatest warriors on God's green earth, the men and women serving in uniform, the men and women serving and wearing the badge, and law enforcement, our police, our sheriffs around the state of Tennessee. I'm reminded that Americans exist to protect this country day in and day out, and they've done it like we've done it here. But what we didn't have was you. We didn't have a commander-in-chief who backed the blue, who resourced the blue, who funded the military, who did whatever it takes to safeguard every single life. And here in Memphis, Tennessee, you have put on a show for the world. You have allowed us to go out there and capture gangbangers, rapists, murderers, drug dealers at record historic levels. And for me, a first-generation Indian-American kid whose parents fled a genocide in East Africa to become the 9th director of the FBI. I'm living the wildest dream you could possibly imagine, sir, but it's thanks to you. But more importantly, what I see when I look out across our great partners here in the interagency and our great legislatures and our great prosecutors and our great attorney general who has the guts to go out there and make arrests, turn them into prosecutions, and put people in prison, you are giving that dream to every single child in the state of Tennessee. You are inspiring the nation and law enforcement to come up and wear the badge and wear the colors of this country and safeguard our men and women for generations to come. This is an enduring mission, Mr. President, because you have made it enduring. It is going to go on for generations to come. They are going to try to achieve what you accomplished here, what Stephen said, in just one short year, and they're going to be doing it for decades because America was smart enough to elect you as our commander-in-chief. So while we're out there fighting for the dreams of our children, just know, Mr. President, how many millions of dreams like mine are going to be lived thanks to your brilliant leadership. Mr. President, thanks for delivering America the safest country on God's green earth.
Thank you very much, Gary. Pretty good? He did pretty good. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, please.
It's great to be here with you today. And obviously we're in the hottest country, in the hottest state, and now the hottest city, thanks to you. So we appreciate your leadership in that endeavor. Also, it takes strong leadership, Mr. President, to do what you do. We thank you for that and have a strong team as well. But I'd like to say that I appreciate how resolute you are in your belief and in your attitude. And I think that's a testament to making America first. Also, I want to thank you for delivering freedom. When we talk about crime, a lot of times we talk about normalcy. But people get used to high crime. They don't understand what low crime is. And in this city, unfortunately, it became a normal thing, seeing high crime. But you deliver freedom to the residents here in Memphis, as well as Governor Lee did. And it's as little as watching a kid or a child who said they had a bicycle in their living room, and now they're able to ride it outside. We take that for granted. We take that freedom for granted, but because of you, now here in the city of Memphis, kids can ride their bicycle outside, which they never had experienced before. And now what has happened, when you have freedom, Mr. President, you have opportunity. You now have hope, you get independence, and then comes prosperity. And that's what making America great is all about. They can be anything they want to be. It doesn't matter where you start out. You can end up wherever you want to be, and that's exactly what you're doing, Mr. President. And we can talk about crime statistics, but I want to thank you for saving hundreds of lives. And I mean by saving hundreds of lives is those individuals who were not shot and killed in the city of Memphis. Those are saved lives that have something else that God's going to give them to do in their life other than be a crime statistic. In your short period with your team's approach, there are 10,000 less victims in the city of Memphis. Think about that. Hundreds of lives saved, 10,000 less victims. That is an accomplishment that you have never seen in this aspect. And I appreciate your strong team, all your individuals here, also a brilliant mind, and Stephen Miller, who I've been able to work with. And we are working, as you said, on legislation, not only illegal immigration that we're going to lead the country in, which is working its way through the General Assembly, but we're going to Soros-proof the state of Tennessee once and for all. And we're going to take on bail, we're going to take on woke and soft on crime DAs. We've already done truth in sentencing, we're working on 3-strike legislation. But we have a strong General Assembly that will support the governor and me and Lieutenant Governor McNally, who's a great advocate in this endeavor. And the last thing I'll say, Mr. President, is I appreciate your resolve to not allow people's words to distract you from your destiny. Stephen Miller just laid out what that destiny looked like, which is untouched in our history. Thank you for being resolute and not allowing those who want to take you down or to cause you harm to allow you to continue fighting forward to make the America what we know it can be, as well as the city of Memphis. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And now we have the ICE director, very important. He's done a fantastic job. Todd, please.
Law enforcement officer, thank you for letting us do our job again. That's the key thing. The men and women in this room that wear the badge every day, we know that we have a president that has our back. So because of you, we can go out and we can make America safe again. But honestly, sir, if you just look at what we did, this is what happens when strategy actually meets execution. Your model is delivering real results, securing communities and making neighborhoods safe. And if more cities would just take the lead and have the strength and constitution like the governor does to make their major cities safe again, this is a prime example of how to do it. This is a direct reflection, sir, of the model that you put in place. This and the Homeland Security task forces that you put into action with your executive order are really what's going to make a difference to this country. One thing, and Gaddy brought it up, was the Memphis Interagency Fraud Cell. That's key to your promise to the American people that honest Americans that need that funding will get it. What we're doing is we're having a reduction in fraud when it comes to SNAP benefits, mail fraud, and Medicaid fraud. And that's key and important for true Americans that believed in you that you're going to make a difference to make this country great again. While this wasn't an immigration-led operation, sir, we did have 619 illegal aliens arrested. 7 of those, which were Venezuelans that were paroled into this country, or TDA gang members. 1 El Sal that raped a child, and another Honduras male that raped several children. Because of your leadership, we were able to get these violent criminals out of our neighborhoods. And sir, Memphis going forward is going to be the example, as Mr. Miller said, for decades to come. So on behalf of the men and women of ICE, the special agents of Homeland Security, we thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much, Chad. And just, if I might, so you're at the front of a storm. The Democrats have caused lots of problems at the airports and all other places too. We shouldn't be in this position, especially when we're in conflict elsewhere. But how are you doing, and how is ICE doing at the airports and helping out?
Oh, you know, sir, to just have the opportunity to help our other fellow officers at Department of Homeland Security, we're doing great. We're going to make sure that your promise is kept, that we're going to help those lines move, and we're going to make people safe. And no one should be nervous to go to the airport, because we're going to make sure that every traveler in spring break has a safe journey.
I appreciate it. Great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Rob Cicada, please. Rob.
Mr. President, thank you for your assembling of the Memphis Safe Task Force. Your leadership empowered ATF and all of our state and local partners to focus on the most dangerous criminals operating in Memphis. Violent repeat felons, many walking the streets despite having 3, 4, and 5 felony convictions, are no longer doing so. They're no longer walking these streets without the fear of federal and state local and state law enforcement getting together and taking them off the streets. We focused our efforts on the most violent gang members operating in Memphis, so much so that we've decapitated the leadership of the Rich and Ruthless gang and the Vice Lord gangs operating here in Memphis. Their leadership, their membership is currently running the streets without any sort of direction. The gang members are falling apart. They're weakened. Their ability to coordinate and commit violent crimes are broken down because of the Memphis Safe Task Force. We've also been able to identify numerous firearms trafficking task force. Some of the evidence items that you see here were recovered from violent gang members. Many of these firearms were converted from semi-automatic weapons to be able to accept machine gun conversion devices, which now allow these rifles and pistols to shoot full auto. Those weapons were used by the gang members to terrorize this community and commit numerous homicides and numerous aggravated assaults. Those networks were identified and removed from operations. One in particular was operating 3 3D printing machines, making machine gun conversion devices in his house when search warrants were executed by ATF and our Memphis Safe Task Force partners. We are continually focused on preventing violent crime. In one instance, while we were out on patrol with our state and local partners, our agents responded to a shooting that had just occurred, located a victim that sustained serious gunshot injuries. Agents were able to render first aid on the scene and prevent that victim from bleeding out. Victim was transported to the hospital and ultimately survived because of the Memphis Safe Task Force being here. Our agents regularly talk to the members of the community. The community, when we first arrived, was in visible fear. They were afraid to walk out of their homes to the corner store. They were afraid to sit in their front yards because of being in fear of being victimized of a drive-by shooting. Those people are now approaching our agents and our partners, thanking us every day for being out there and taking the fear away from them so they and their family members could walk their communities and sit in their front yards and talk to their neighbors without fear of being killed or shot. So thank you for your support of law enforcement and for creating the Memphis Safe Task Force. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rob, and you do a fantastic job. Thank you very much. One of the best crime fighters I know, really from personal experience, because I've watched him more in D.C. than here, but I get the reports on what's happening in Memphis. And Terry Cole, please say a few words. Great job.
Mr. President, thank you for your leadership. It has given law enforcement the tools and the support to take this fight directly to the local street gangs, but also the cartels, the designated terrorists that are killing Americans. Your leadership is attacking not only the local street gangs here, but it's attacking the cartels in Mexico. It's attacking the cartels in Venezuela. It's attacking the cartels in Colombia and Ecuador. And it's setting the example for the world to see that they are designated terrorists. They are fueling the violence in our streets. The DEA, along with our local task forces, are disrupting the supply chain, dismantling networks, and saving American lives. This is America first. This is Americans first. The DEA is proud to stand along with our federal, state, tribal, and local partners here in Memphis with our amazing military and National Guard. The work has just started, Mr. President. We will take the battle wherever the battle leads us. But one thing can be rest assured. After you take Maduro out of Venezuela, after you take Mencho out of Mexico, after your diplomatic pressure forces the Mexicans to make a record seizure last week of 270 kilograms of fentanyl that was destined for the United States, this is truly due to your leadership. It's due to your partnership with law enforcement that enables us to do our job. A few small seizures from this task force is represented in front of you. Close to 190 kilograms of cocaine, close to 50 pounds of methamphetamine. But more importantly, this task force seized enough fentanyl to kill in lethal dosages close to 20 million Americans. 20 million Americans. In a separate case just outside of Memphis, working with our state and local law enforcement partners, we seized another 25 million lethal doses of fentanyl that was heading to our cities, heading to our streets. I will tell you, Mr. President, in my 3 tours here to Memphis to put on the gun, to put on the vest, and to go out in the community, I was welcomed. I was welcomed not only by an amazing Highway Patrol colonel and his team, but I was welcomed by the community. I was invited to front porches. I was invited to an ice cream social. But that was in between the hard work of the men and women of the DEA and this task force that we're conducting daily. See, personally, I served 4 search warrants with the amazing men and women of DEA and the Memphis Police Department and Tennessee Highway Patrol because I believe in the mission of where you lead from the front. So thank you for giving us at the DEA the power to do our job again. Thank you for giving us these amazing relationships with these task forces and the Homeland Security Task Force and the Memphis Task Force and the Washington, D.C. Task Force. There's no command we won't go out and complete, Mr. President. We're here to execute your orders. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for this amazing opportunity to make America safe again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Great job. So just in finishing up, we have 2 great people that happen to live here. One's a business owner and a good one, and one's a good one also, a resident. And we're going to ask you both to say a few words, please.
Mr. President, thank you for saving Memphis, and thank you for asking me to share my story. My name is Tim Pugh. I'm a co-founder and president of Pugh's Earthworks and Pugh's Flowers. My brothers and I have 2 family-owned businesses in Memphis, and this year marks our 50th year in business since we started our American dream. My entire family, including our new grandbaby, is living and working in Memphis. We want our family to feel and be safe. We have many friends that have moved away and encouraged their children to move away because of the escalating crime. We love Memphis and call it our home and would never want to move away. The crime in Memphis has affected my businesses. We've had several delivery vans full of flowers stolen as we're at the front door of someone's house delivering. Turn around and the van was gone. We've had landscape equipment stolen from job sites, so now we have to lock each piece of equipment to the truck while we're working on a property. And because of multiple break-ins, including one night we had 5 vans with the catalytic converter stolen on all 5. Due to repeated theft, we had to install an electric fence and multiple cameras around our main store to prevent this theft. All of this adds significant financial burdens and man hours. In the spring of last year, members of one of my landscape crews were robbed at gunpoint. This type of action became too normal in this city that I was raised in, and honestly, I felt that we were on a path of no return. How could we continue to operate our business when theft was rampant and, God forbid, lives were lost? Thankfully for you, Mr. President, we don't have to live and operate that way anymore. We have a great police force in Memphis, but they just needed reinforcements to get the crime under control. So thank you for bringing in those much-needed reinforcements. Our mayor is doing a good job. Each week he's sending out emails of the progress, and just last Friday he reported that crime was down well over 40%. Honestly, Mr. President, I feel like crime is down 100%, and that is because of what you've done. We want Memphis to grow and prosper, and to do that, you must have a low crime rate. People have to feel safe. That wasn't the case before, but now it is. Thank you to the task force and our city leaders for working together to make this happen. And thank you, Mr. President. Memphis owes you a lot of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you. Great. And your business is doing well. That's great. It's going to get better and better. You watch. Thank you very much. Delisha?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. It is a complete honor to be here with you today. Thank you for saving Memphis. My name is Delicia Ballinger, and I'm a lifelong Memphian, and I'm a mother. And I wanted to speak with you today, not just as a citizen, but as a mom who's lived through what Memphis has become. I remember a different Memphis. I remember when the city felt alive, when families didn't have to think twice about safety, when kids could just go outside and just be kids. We had places to go, things to do, and a sense of pride about where we come from. But over the years, that Memphis has faded, and what it was replaced with was fear. Before the Memphis Safe Task Force, I just didn't hear about crime, I lived it. I watched friends and people that I love lose their lives to the senseless violence. I've attended funerals that never should have happened. I've seen families torn apart, mothers grieving, and children growing up without parents, all because of violence that felt like it would never end. And those moments stay with you. They change how you see everything. But nothing's changed me more than becoming a mother. Because now, it wasn't just my life that I was worried about, it was my children. There were days where I wouldn't let them go outside, not because I didn't want them to, but because I was afraid what would happen if I did. And the fear of stray bullets, the sounds of gunshots at night, constantly wondering if they were truly safe. And that fear became real in a way that no mother should ever have to experience. At just 5 years old, I could have lost my son. There was a drive-by shooting, and a random bullet came through my home in that very same space where my son played. And to that day, this bullet hole is still in my wall, a permanent reminder of how close I came to losing everything. My family we are good people. We work hard every day to have everything that we have, only to have it taken away from us. We've experienced multiple burglaries in our home, and it wasn't just the material things that were stolen, it was our sense of security, our peace, our livelihood. And that violence just wasn't inside of our home, it was all around us. Just literally 4 houses down from where I live, a grandmother and her child was shot. I remember what sounded like almost 30 gunshots ring out. Yellow tape covered the street. After that day, those neighbors never returned. Their home now, with a for sale sign, stands as a reminder of a fear so deep that they couldn't come back to the place where they almost lost their lives. And that feeling, that fear, is something that my family knows all too well. That is not how families are supposed to live. That is not how children are supposed to grow up. We've reached out for help. For years, we looked to our local leaders hoping that anything would change, but nothing did. And that was until you my president stepped in. I need you to understand what that meant for families like mine, because in a matter of weeks, we felt a difference. Today, I can sit out on my porch and drink tea in peace. My children can go outside and play in our backyard again, and for the first time in 5 years, I don't hear any gunshots in my neighborhood. It's been almost 6 months, and it's like a whole new world. That silence means everything to me. It means safety. It means peace. It means that I can breathe again as a mother. What years of waiting couldn't fix, you did it in just 3 weeks. And I'll never forget that. My family will never forget that. And what's even more powerful is that that impact did not stop there. Because of the Memphis Safe Task Force, it has sparked continued efforts right here at home, like the Make Memphis Matter movement, led by the incredible, the most awesome State Senator Brent Taylor, starting in 2023, who is putting his best foot forward every day to continue the mission to make it a safer Memphis and to hold our sorors back DA accountable at a state level, and partnering with amazing Senators Hagerty and Blackburn on the federal level. And it's because of leadership like that, I believe that Memphis can become that place that I once remembered. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for seeing communities like mine. Thank you for taking action. Thank you for putting Americans first, especially right here in Shelby County in Memphis. Because this isn't politics for me. This is my life. This is for my children. In fact, President Trump, my son, my beautiful son, is here today, and he would like to wave and say thank you because now he's free to live a normal childhood. Braylon, stand up for me, baby. And because of that change, we finally have a sense of normal again. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I truly don't have the words to share how much I appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir. Memphis loves you, President Trump. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. I don't know, Delisha. I think we're going to have to give her MVP, right? MVP, Delisha. That's a great job. Thank you very much. I think she has to run for office. Would you like to become a Republican? She said, I am a Republican. I love this. Anyway, great job. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Really beautiful. So you're going to see some fantastic results. You already have, but you're going to see some numbers that are going to bring you into a level that few cities attain. I want to thank the governor. I want to thank the state. The state is just a fantastic state. The first day I stepped in it, we were leading by 30 points, and it never went down. It just only went up. So it's something special. We have a bond. We have a special bond. You know, you can be a politician, but when you win something in landslide, you have a very, very great feeling. And I want to tell you, this is a very, very successful, beautiful state, and I love Tennessee. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Memphis, and fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
Well, there you go. President Trump speaking in Memphis, Tennessee about the Memphis Safe Task Force, where the White House says more than 7,000 criminals have been arrested since the inception of the task force in September of last year. We have a number of interviews to get to and some details to share with you. Before we get there, let's go to allfamilypharmacy.com, and you can use that RSBN promo code, of course, for in just a minute, and we'll go to that too, rsbnetwork.com/donate. If you'd like to donate to the network, you can do so. You can give if you'd like, rsbnetwork.com/donate. Let's also go to All Family Pharmacy as well. You know, most people don't think about their medications until they actually need them. Someone gets sick, the pharmacy's closed, the doctor's office is booked out, and suddenly you're scrambling just to get basic prescriptions. Well, there's a better way to handle it. All Family Pharmacy is helping Americans take control of their health care by making it simple to get the medications families rely on every day. So you go online, you choose the medications you're looking for, and complete a short medical form. A licensed doctor reviews your request and, if appropriate, then writes the prescription. We're told then your order will go right to your door. It's not just ivermectin or mebendazole. They also offer more than 400 prescription medications, including antibiotics, antivirals, the NAD+, and also everyday maintenance medications that millions of Americans rely on, such as treatments for blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, infections, and more. No long pharmacy lines, no complicated insurance process, just a simpler way to get the medications your family may need. So if you believe in being prepared and having access to your medications that you trust out there, this pharmacy has your back. So you can check them out, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Use that RSBN 10 promo code right there that you see on your screen. Let's also go to Birch Gold before we move on and share with you a few of the stories that we're tracking here at the network. So Birch Gold Group, think about this. In 2006, $20,000 actually equaled 33 ounces of gold at spot price. At today's prices, those 33 ounces would be worth about $165,000. So smart Americans are diversifying a portion of their savings into precious metals. And that's why you might want to consider buying from our friends at Birch Gold Group, because for thousands of years, gold has been a store of wealth, and today it's a crucial part of any balanced financial strategy. Even better, Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. All you have to do to get the ball started or get the ball rolling is text Trump to 989898. They have that A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers. So let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. Text Trump to 989898. All right, let's do this. Let's go to a new White House video about angel families. As you guys saw there in Memphis, Tennessee, a number of people there from the local, state, and federal when it comes to law and order. But let's visit the White House once again here for a couple minutes, and we'll be right back after that.
Well, my name is Angel Mom Marianne Mendoza. My son was Sergeant Brandon Mendoza of the Mesa, Arizona Police Department. He was killed on May 12, 2014 by a repeat illegal criminal.
I'm the mother of Lacey Marie Ferguson. She was shot and killed. We never thought it could happen to us. We're just normal people. Everybody is in danger of this. They just don't realize it. They're trying to hide what's happening to American citizens.
My name is Angel Mom Agnes Gibney. I am a legal immigrant, and I am so proud of President Trump for securing our borders and keeping Americans safe. My firstborn and only son, Ronald da Silva, was murdered by a previously deported criminal illegal alien. It should have never happened if our borders would have been secured. My son would still be alive today.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hall. I'm an angel mom. My 18-year-old daughter, Haley King, was killed in 2016. The man who murdered her was sentenced to 17 years in prison. 20 months into the sentence, he was up for parole. There's a lot that's broken in the system that needs to be changed in the judicial part of this too.
My name is Sanjeev Kumar. It's my brother Deepak Kumar. Lost my nephew David Surendra Gutierrez. He was murdered on Valentine's Day, 2025. For us, I think the biggest thing that we want is accountability.
You know, they talk about these people being removed from their families. Well, what about us? I lost my son. I'll never see him again.
Angel moms come out and speak about this, not because our children are going to be brought back, but because we want to save the pain of another angel mom from experiencing what we've experienced. And this is a war on our homeland. It's time that America listens to angel moms.
It takes a piece of my soul away each time I see another angel family.
I would like to see every illegal alien deported. You want to come to the United States, you respect this country and respect the laws of this country like my family did. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for inviting us angel moms to the White House. It is an honor and privilege to call you my president.
You know, at this hour in Washington, D.C., there is the National Guard. And same thing with New Orleans, same thing with Memphis. And you're seeing that multi-agency law enforcement, you know, really take down a lot of the crime, as you guys watched there in Memphis, Tennessee. Before we shift gears and talk about some of the airports out there, I know some of you may have been trying to fly, and it takes a few hours in some cases, it seems, to get through security. Well, that's because, of course, the DHS shutdown is continuing. We're also monitoring a number of other stories as well, including the Save America Act, Operation Epic Fury, and others. But let's go to calshe.com real quick, calshe.com/RSBN. And that's one of the topics and questions that people are talking about out there. When will the DHS partial government shutdown that the Democrats have caused, when is that going to stop? So people are putting money on the line for it, but they're also checking out polls. And it's interesting to see what percentages that are on there for a number of different topics, not only in politics, but in music or movies or whatever may be your interest. So calshe.com/RSBN, you can go to that QR code that you see on the bottom of your screen, or download the app, or go to calshe.com/RSBN. Also, Rumble Wallet, another great sponsor here as we get ready to move on to a number of news story items. You may have seen the conversations happening online lately. Censorship, unfortunately, is back. It's happening at a number of platforms. You know, they're trying to control the narrative and push the stuff they want us to see. Well, we could fight back in that information arena, and including the financial arena as well, because Rumble is one of the only companies that has really stood the test of time and deserves our support. Because on one side, Rumble is challenging big tech censorship, but on the other side, they have introduced something that will give us protection from the big banks shutting us off. You know, a number of conservatives have dealt with this before, including Don Jr., if you remember back in the day, that banks can cancel our accounts and freeze our cards. So that's why Rumble has launched Rumble Wallet. It's a wallet that no one can cancel. And with Rumble Wallet, you control your money. Not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. So just go to wallet.rumble.com. You can also check out the app stores that you see on the bottom right of your screen for Rumble Wallet. You can download that and open up an account and step away from the big banks. All right. Rumble Wallet, great sponsor here on Right Side, along with all of them here on our network. Thanks so much for live streaming in. Let's do this. Let's dive into this situation at the airports, because Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy on X yesterday said, quote, ICE agents are trained and ready to go to airports to provide assistance to TSA while Democrats continue to play their political games. So we can shift now to those long lines at various airports across the country, as we've seen that this is causing a lot of problems out there. ICE is now seen at various airports. There's videos of them out there. But let's go to what President Trump's talking about specifically with ICE as well. He said, quote, earlier on Truth, I'm a big proponent of ICE wearing masks as they search for and are forced to deal with hardened criminals, many of whom were led into our country by sleepy Joe Biden and his wonderful border czar, Kamala. She never even went to the border, through their absolutely insane open border policy. President Trump saying, I would greatly appreciate, however, no masks when helping our country out of the Democrat-caused mess at the airports, etc. Thank you, President DJT. So we're seeing what the president has to say about that when it comes to masks. We're seeing those long lines still at the airports. On top of that, more than 100,000 federal workers within the Department of Homeland Security, the Transportation Security Administration, just not getting paid. And a number of them, obviously that causes a lot of problems out there. We had Abigail Jackson, the White House Deputy Press Secretary, on with us the other day talking specific stories of how this is affecting people, but also affecting just travel to get from point A to point B. Also, we're following a number of other headlines as we get ready to go to some more sponsors here in just a second. ABC News reporting that the State Department is launching the Bureau of Emerging Threats. So there's this new Bureau of Emerging Threats within the State Department. This is all to counter cyber attacks and AI risks from Iran and others. Plus, the AP is reporting the Supreme Court seems skeptical of laws in 14 states that allow counting of mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. So we'll be talking about some more about the Save America Act in just a minute. Let's go to a couple sponsors before we do. Angelpace.com. If you use the RSBN promo code, you'll get that 10% off. A number of great products on there for you to check out, peruse if you'd like to make a purchase, of course, for maybe a birthday or just any kind of gift. Great skincare products right there. Angelpace.com. Use that QR code if you'd like. And at checkout, RSBN 10. The great people there in Spring, Texas. Let's now go to CovePure.com, another great sponsor here on Right Side. We're past all of that new year, new me stuff. And, you know, CovePure is saying, hey, you know what? Most people tend to go overboard, you know, buying new supplements, trying a new diet or workout, which is totally cool, but completely ignoring the most important basic thing, water. You know, even mild dehydration impacts energy, focus, and metabolism. And when you think about all of the garbage that's in our water, you're starting behind the curve before you even begin. And CovePure changes this whole thing immediately because they have that Clearwave technology certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants, pretty much anything that's not water. So the PFAs or microplastics or pharmaceutical residue. How about fluoride? That all gets removed. This is the purest water you can get. And on top of that, my favorite part of it is there's no aftertaste. It's not the top water thing, you know? You get all that filtered out with this great company, covepure.com/RSBN. So instead of that big overhaul, maybe make this one small upgrade that adds up every single day. Clean water. Right now, you can get $250 off for a limited time if you use that link on the bottom of our screen, covepure.com/RSBN. All right, so it's 2:24 Eastern here on Right Side. Thanks again for watching this live stream. Now, what we're going to do here is quickly talk about the Save America Act. As you guys know, it's still being debated on the U.S. Senate floor. Looking forward to seeing that become law. Now, I'm not getting our hopes up, but we have to, you know, continue to talk about it. It's something that is very big for our country to get that taken care of. So let's keep posting about it, keep talking about it, keep calling about it, do whatever you got to do when it comes to prayer, hard work, and speaking up about the Save America Act. Let's now go to Matthew Schmid. He is with the America First Policy Institute, who's working hard to clean up fraud in places like Minnesota. Let's go to him right now. Joining us now on Right Side Broadcasting Network is Matthew Schmid with the America First Policy Institute for more on Minnesota fraud. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us here on Right Side.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. So let's first talk about America First Policy Institute, your role there, and then we could talk more about Minnesota as well. So can you explain?
Yeah, so I oversee the Farmers First campaign, and really our role is to try to bring prosperity to rural America. We really have a Farmers First agenda. Whatever we can do to help the American farmer, rancher, waterman, that's what our role here is, with good policy at the federal and state level. And the reason why we're talking about SNAP today is because that program is overseen by United States Department of Agriculture, which we work closely to ensure that, you know, these policies are serving the American people well.
Awesome, and that's great. Let's talk about National Agriculture Week as well. I mean, that's such an awesome week for the farmers across this country. What is it like to be in a role that you're in to help our great farmers, and then also to see people like Brooke Rollins, who used to be at AFPI, now in the position she's in?
Yeah, you know, the farm economy has, you know, over the previous 8 years really suffered. And some of the problems that the American farmer is facing are really decades long. And, you know, this administration is tackling these head on. It's really exciting to watch the way that these seemingly intractable problems, if you talk to the folks within the DC bubble, are actually being addressed, whether it's trade deals, whether it's making sure that our products can find new markets, making sure that our farmers have the inputs that they need, and that we're onshoring some of those things. These are just structural problems that the American farmer has been talking about for years. And seeing movement, seeing the way that Secretary Rollins is really just aggressively at the pace of this administration, at the pace of the Trump administration, it's really exciting to watch. And, you know, our farmers, they desperately need it.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see that. Did some travel in Iowa when the president was on various campaign trips there, and it's just such a heartbeat of our country and our economy as well. And let's shift over then to the SNAP benefits. So the USDA SNAP benefits, how does that all come together?
Yeah, so SNAP, otherwise known as the food stamp program, it's fully federally funded. 100% of SNAP benefits are paid by the American taxpayer. However, the states are the ones that are managing the programs, and in some cases, in Minnesota, for example, it's individual counties that are administering the program on behalf of American taxpayers. And so it's really, in a federated system, it's a system of trust that can, folks here in Iowa trust that other states are managing their programs well. And the system, when we have that well-working, baseline of trust, the system works. However, what we've seen in recent months, not all states are taking that seriously, and public trust has certainly suffered.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot. And then I know you'll be testifying, is it on Capitol Hill? Tell us about that whole situation there.
No, so this is actually a unique part of our role here. So although the program is a federal program, as I said, it's administered locally or at the state level. And so states really have been using this loophole that really, it was during the Obama administration that this broad-based categorical eligibility loophole really was, through regulation at the federal level, supercharged. And so what this BBCE, broad-based categorical eligibility loophole, does is it allows states to bypass federal eligibility rules. And so instead of doing asset tests, a lot of states waive asset tests entirely. In Minnesota, we've seen a millionaire, Rob Undersander, who's actually going to be testifying tomorrow, claims SNAP benefits for the better part of 2 years, donated it just to really test the system and say, hey, I'm a millionaire. I shouldn't be getting SNAP. I should not be getting welfare dollars here. So a lot of states waived asset tests, and then they also don't match federal income limits. And so what this creates is, even the employees, the caseworkers who are qualifying people, they don't have the tools they need to ensure that somebody actually is who they say they are. We did see also last year that USDA requested all states turn over their SNAP data to the federal government. The red states, 28 states complied. A lot of the blue states, including Minnesota, did not. And of the states that complied, we found, or USDA rather found, several 100,000 dummy social security numbers, several 100,000 people collecting SNAP benefits in multiple states. And again, if it's managed at the state level, there's nobody that can check across states if people are double dipping in multiple states. And so for those states who are saying, hey, we're not going to turn over our data, the question is, what are you hiding? What's the problem with transparency? We are all funding this program together as taxpayers. We need to ensure that states are properly managing their programs.
It should be a slam dunk for you there tomorrow, of course, because of the receipts and the evidence that's out there of the fraud. So you guys are going in there to make things right, make everything cleaned up. Is that basically what you're doing? Is that what we can expect?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally at the fundamental level, this is really a good governance piece of legislation. So adding asset tests, but also saying, hey, let's collect income information up front, verify that income up front. Don't wait 6 months and find out, okay, somebody shouldn't really have received. Let's give the caseworkers the tools that they need to ensure that they can actually qualify folks right up front. And it's good governance. Without this, the federal government passed a law last year. If you're not, this is with the big beautiful bill, if you're not managing your program correctly, you're going to have to start paying a portion of SNAP benefits. And in the state of Minnesota, because their error rate in payment administration is 9%, they're on the hook for $87 million starting next year. And so, Governor Walz recognizes it. He's actually put some money in the budget for this, but we're saying, hey, there's a way to fix this rather than just paying it down. Let's actually solve the problem. Let's ensure that we're restoring public trust to the program. And let's, just make some good governance decisions here and bring back asset testing, bring income verification up front, do our due diligence, and make sure that the people who actually need SNAP are getting SNAP and not millionaires like Rob Undersander.
Exactly. I mean, that's just quite the case that we saw there. Saw that story on Fox Business as well. So it's wild to see it. Good luck to you. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing for this country. And we'll be watching that hearing tomorrow. So thanks again. Actually, today, as this airs, Matthew Schmid with the America First Policy Institute. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care, man. All right, so there you go. That was with Matthew Schmid of the America First Policy Institute. I had my Next thought on my mind was all family pharmacies. So let's go to that real quick here. Most people don't think about their medications until they actually need them. Someone gets sick, the pharmacy's closed, the doctor's office is booked out, and suddenly you're scrambling just to get the basic prescriptions. And there's just a better way to handle all of that. All family pharmacies helping Americans take control of their health care by making it simple to get the medications families rely on every day. So here's how it works. You go online, you choose the medications you're looking for, you complete a short medical form, a licensed doctor reviews your request, and if appropriate, writes the prescription. Then your order ships directly to your door. So it's not just things like, ivermectin or mebendazole, even though ivermectin is, I'm not a doctor, so I won't say anything, but I'm a fan of ivermectin if need be. But they offer more than 400 prescription medications, including antibiotics, antivirals, NAD+, and everyday maintenance medications that millions of Americans rely on, such as treatments for blood pressure or cholesterol or diabetes, infections, and more. So no long pharmacy lines, no complicated insurance process, just a simpler way to get the medications your family may need. So if you believe in being prepared and having access to the medications you trust, this pharmacy has your back. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Use that RSBN 10 promo code. You get that 10% off today. Our final sponsor of the broadcast is Kalshi.com/RSBN. Of course, a lot of different topics on there you can check out, including things like when will the partial government shutdown end? People are betting or trading or just checking out polls for various questions like that, just within the political sphere. But there's also sports and music and movies and all sorts of questions. And people talk about the weather. They put money on if it's going to be 70 degrees in New York City today. You know what I mean? But also a lot of different questions out there when it comes to politics that you can check out if you'd like. You can do that right there on Kalshi.com/RSBN. Use the QR code, or you can go to the website, Kalshi.com/RSBN. You could also download the app if you'd like. All right, it's 234 Monday, March 23rd. Thanks so much for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you missed any of our coverage, obviously you can replay this broadcast if you'd like. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Also, if there's any breaking news or developing news going on, which we've seen a lot of news going on, of course, in the 24/7 news cycle, we'll be here. We'll be live for you. Also, if not, we will have it uploaded so you can see it. For all of us here at Right Side, I'm Matthew Alvarez. Have a good day.